Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes so sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Or just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. And not just the YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade. Sipping motions of lemonade. Cool heads will prevail, kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. Is a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Sack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Michegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proset, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Hello and happy Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. Hooray. It's Friday. I always think I have more time than I do. And then I come back and I look at the time and I'm like, oh my God, I'm 2 minutes late. Sorry about that. How's everybody doing? I can't believe that it's been a year since Karen Read was acquitted. Can you? Did that go fast for me? Did it go fast for you too? Went fast for me. And it was exactly a year yesterday. It was June 18th, 2025 that Karen Read was finally acquitted after dealing with the wrongful persecution of Norfolk County for at least 3.5 years. Now it's been 4.5 years. Happy anniversary to us and to the acquittal of Karen. Is it your anniversary today, Goodmans? Or are you saying our anniversary like yours and mine? 21 months, unless it's your wedding anniversary, then happy anniversary to the Goodmans. I have so many things that I want to talk about, and I have like ADHD self-diagnosed via Instagram brain, and everything's all over the place, and look, there's something shiny, and I don't know. It's an emotional day. Grab your tissues. It was an emotional day, but watching it always is very emotional too. So grab your tissues, and we're going to rewatch the verdict a year ago with Mark Bederow and I when we were watching it with many of you. And then I would like to watch the full interview of the juror, the foreman of the jury. So we can, and I haven't watched it. I haven't watched the whole thing. I wanted to do a real-time reaction with you. If you haven't seen it, good. If you've seen it, let's watch it again. The foreman of the jury of Karen Read's second jury, the acquittal jury, gave a full interview to Fisher College, and it was just released a couple days ago, or maybe a while ago, a couple weeks ago. But the interview was done, I think in November after the verdict. He says he's going to write a book, and I think it'll be interesting for us to watch it together to see what the jury saw and to see how that may play out in these civil cases that we're now covering. And that was such a crazy day, wasn't it? It really was. And there's some other things I have on the docket that we can talk about. And then, 30% off in the merch shop today only. Let me pin that link for you. It's today only in the merch shop, 30% off. Make sure if you want to use the 30% off coupon, it's weird. You have to click the link that says 30% off at the top of the page. Why is here it is. All right, so it says 30% off everything. It's today only. All right, hold on a second. I got to post it. I'll post it. The link is in the show notes below this video for merch, but also I'll pin it in the chat. And hopefully, if anybody is interested, I like a good sale. I know you like a good sale too. All right, we're going to pin it. And for some reason, the chat just disappeared on my phone. A lot of drama out there. A lot of people out there. A lot of people out there on the other side of this trying to distract you, trying to rage bait you. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Just don't look at it. Just don't look at it. And it's wild to me that it's still going on a year after Karen Read was acquitted, that there are still people fighting to try and prove to you that John O'Keefe was hit by a car. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's rewind. Let's take a rewind to 1 year ago yesterday when Mark Bederow and I were waiting with many of you to watch. Oh, would you like to hear about the lore of the rubber ducks, Tina? I can put that on there. I can put that on the docket. Happy Juneteenth. It is Juneteenth today. Happy Juneteenth. It is a federal holiday. But I'm working. This doesn't really work for me. It's more like fun because I love you guys so much. And it is Juneteenth. And I think tonight's the night that the Haas defendants will be having their fundraiser. So good luck to them. I hope they raise lots of money for their defense and their prosecution of Karen Read and Aiden Carney again. Effing again. So I'll give you a second to go grab your tissues. You were here. I know you guys were with me. You were with me and you've been with me ever since. Let's take a look at today's motivational quote of the day. George Bernard Shaw said, "Success does not consist in never making mistakes, but in never making the same one a second time." Thank you, George Bernard Shaw, for today's motivational quote of the day. Success does not consist in never making mistakes, but in never making the same one a second time. Here you go. There you go. And also, as always, we need an affirmation for a badass. We're back to this deck again. And let's see what today's affirmation for a badass is. As we pull one from the middle of the deck. Nobody likes a cheater. I am thankful. All right, for whoever needs this today, this is your badass affirmation. This is a good one. Because you should start every day with gratitude. If you can. I know it's hard sometimes. I am thankful for my effing amazing life. That's your affirmation today. I am thankful for my effing amazing life. And there it is. Would I lie to you? Would I lie to you, honeys? Oh, another something I did for you is I linked once again in today's show notes, the Spotify playlist that we made during the Karen Read trial. It is something like the affirmation deck, I think, is in the Amazon storefront, which is also linked below in this video because I love shopping, but I hate going to the store. So I collected all of my favorite things and I put them in a list for you. It's called my Amazon storefront. It is in the show notes below this video. Also, a reminder that a great way to support the channel that doesn't cost you one dime, even if you don't want to buy any of the things that I love, is to just click into that link when you do your regular Amazon shopping, and like a percentage of that goes to the channel. A very tiny percentage, but listen, it adds up. And it doesn't cost you any more or any less for the things that you would pay at Amazon. But sometimes when things are on sale, I do tell you about it. I just lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. No idea. No idea where I was going with that. So there's that. Let's go to the video. Let's go to the video. You guys getting goosebumps already? No. This is hard. It's hard for me to watch old videos of myself because I just cringe. So I'm going to turn off my own camera. If you can come to the screen, come to your screen. And this is Mark Bederow and I on June 18th, 2025. My eyebrows were much bushier then. I love a good Brooke Shields eyebrow. I can't believe it's been. I can't believe it's been. So me watching me is kind of weird. So I'm going to just shut my camera off, but I'm going to be right here crying behind the scenes. And let's watch it. This was from season 2, the re-persecution of Karen Read. And it's amazing that we've been through 2 trials together. I mean, what are we still doing here? Why are we still here? Why? I don't know. All right, I'm shutting my camera off, but I'm going to be right here pulling up your comments as we watch this together. The verdict clock was at 20 hours, 33 minutes, and 40 seconds. And right before this, there was a false alarm where the jury said they had a verdict, and then they sent out a note saying, oh no, we don't have a verdict. Remember? Because I do. I absolutely do. Hang on one second. All right, I'm warning you. It's a trigger warning for tears. Here you go.
Okay.
It should be good now. Glad I did that before. Because, you know, of course it would happen, like right as the verdict comes in. I bet your streaming crashed.
Now. Oh, I know now, yeah.
Better now than. All right, the verdict is in. The waiting was changed their chyron, and we wait. We're like, hey, Mark, what's up? What's up, Mark? How's it going?
You know, this is it. I mean, look, there has to be an ending to this, and it's good that there is. So I don't think there was ever evidence that supported a conviction on this. As we sit here and wait, I still don't think that's the case.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think there's going to be a conviction. I'm getting ready for like the flood of emotions that's about to come out of me. I don't know if I can control myself. Are you going to cry? Do you have tissues just in case?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this is certainly for something
emotional.
It's very, this is about as tense as it will get, but I mean, you have to trust the evidence, trust the lawyers. They tried a very nice case. And
I love how Mark was trying to talk me off the edge here. Remember? He was trying to talk me off the edge. Hi, Glare. Do you remember this?
And I think they made a compelling. I mean, you have to trust the evidence, trust the lawyers. They tried a very nice case. And I think they made a compelling presentation, and the jury took time, obviously, thinking about it. Yeah, I don't envision a scenario where they're going to convict her, certainly of any conduct that would have led them to conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that she struck John O'Keefe with her vehicle, causing his death. I don't see it.
Very nice case. Okay, I hear it.
Unmuted.
Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
I gotta remember to breathe. I always forget to breathe.
Definitely breathe.
Will the deliberating jurors remain standing? Defendant remains standing. All other parties may be seated.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that 12 deliberating jurors and 6 alternates are present.
Yes.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman, members of the jury, have you agreed upon a verdict? Yeah. Thank you. May I see the papers? Mr. Foreman, have the verdicts been placed in this envelope and have they been in your presence ever since?
Some fancy split screen.
Mr. Foreman, on docket number 2282CR117001, murder in the second degree, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty? Not guilty. So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you? No, do you agree? Yes. Do all of you agree? Yes. Thank you. 002, what say is the defendant at the bar not guilty or guilty? Not guilty. Is not guilty or guilty about that charge or any lesser included charge? Thank you.
Full acquittal.
Specifically number 5, operating under the influence of liquor by operating a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater. Correct? Yes. So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all?
Guilty?
003, what say is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? Defendant not guilty or guilty? So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Crowd goes wild.
Jurors, hearken your verdict as the court records that you upon your oath say the defendant on 001 is not guilty, on 002 is guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, and 003 not guilty. Thank you.
All right, jurors, everybody please be seated. Jurors, we thank you for your service. We're going to send you back. Your service is complete. I'd like to come back and talk to you a little bit after.
Boy, it's loud out there.
Oh, it is.
All rise. Your call me.
Look at David's crying too. Wow. I can't.
Media, please exit the courtroom immediately.
Karen Read,
Not
not yet.
Tony,
Hold
not
on,
yet,
hold on,
not yet.
everyone. Karen Read, Ms. Read, can I have your attention? As required by statute, I must inform you that the records regarding the charges that you have been found not guilty will be sealed by the Commissioner of Probation by the court unless you notify the Commissioner of Probation in writing within 10 days that you do not want these records sealed. To request that these records not be sealed, you may use the request not to seal form, which is posted on the trial court's website on mass.gov. I cannot accept the form here in court. You must submit it to the Commissioner of Probation at the address provided on the form. Please be aware that if the records regarding the charges which you have been found not guilty are sealed, you will be unable to access the sealed record of the not guilty dispositions or any other records regarding those charges. If you want copies of any documents regarding those charges before the records are sealed, you should request copies from the court within 10 days. Do you understand? Thank you.
All right, so we need a date for sentencing. Can we do it next week?
Gosh, she wants it over.
Okay,
Do you want to do it today?
okay.
That means get her out. That's
If you're just joining. Not
just wants
guilty
it
on
all.
murder 2. Not guilty of murder 2. The only thing she's guilty of is the OUI charge, the 5th lesser included on the manslaughter. And she is, and look at the Reads in tears. I can't control myself. And not guilty of leaving the scene. The judge wanted to set a sentencing for the OUI for next week. And Hank Brennan wants to do it today.
which is the best thing he's done in this whole case. Just get it over with.
All right, so Ms. Giannetti, you ready to go forward today as well?
Run the
Wow.
risk.
Okay, Mr. Brennan, what's the Commonwealth's recommendation?
Your Honor, the Commonwealth moves for sentencing. We recommend probation, 1 year, 24 D.
She's not going to jail.
So the standard that everybody else gets on a first-time OUI?
Certainly.
Okay,
We ask that she be treated no differently, no better.
so I'm happy to do it. All right, thank you all.
That's it. This is
1 year
everything.
probation, 1 year probation on docket number 002, the lesser included offense of operating under the influence, 1 year probation. Thank you. The 24D program is. Thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Goodbye.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. Hold on. I'm not ready. Okay, now you can. Good.
A lot of people wondered how Brennan was going to behave when this was over. And he behaved like a gentleman.
Yeah,
There
you're
was
right.
no reason to delay this. Get it out of here. Get her sentenced. End this. We're not asking for jail. We're treating her like a first offender. OUI. We're done here. And that it's a shame that it took to this at the very end for him to act like that, but he did.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Oh,
This is the fun part, that when you see
Yeah.
something like this,
I
it'll
know.
be, and the comments from her family, and the lawyers will be something else. I mean, this is obviously 1,000% win for the defense. This is no ambiguity. This is a complete and utter win for them, and a complete and utter failure for Michael Morrissey, who goes down in history for trying the most expensive OUI case and waste of taxpayer money misdemeanor case probably in American history.
Yeah, I do think that Karen Read is dressed in Veronica Beard today. Just like break it up. Nice powder blue blazer and slacks. She looks amazing. She's only getting a year. She's getting a 1-year probation with a 24D program, whatever the hell that is. I'm so sorry that you are not part of the team and you're not there with them celebrating. But in my own selfishness, I'm really glad that you're here with me because I can't speak and I need you to speak for me.
I'm happy to be here with you. Don't take this the wrong way. I really do wish I was there.
I know.
But
I know.
That's the right, and it's outstanding what happened, and hopefully the TV will take us to outside, because I really want to hear from Karen, obviously Alan and David, and if they're willing, who I really, really, really want to hear from are Bill and Janet Read.
I know. Let's see if Boston 25 or Boston 10 is doing it. Oh, here they come.
Come on, camera crew, take us to the courthouse steps. I'm sure they're taking a few.
Come to your screen if you can and just look at the throngs of supporters in pink outside the courthouse. When have you ever seen this before? When will you ever see this again? I'm glad I put waterproof mascara on today because I knew we were going to watch this. Back to Mark and me from 1 year ago.
Private moments inside before they face the media scrum. I mean, this is for them emotionally, you can't imagine.
Yeah. Look at the amount of
Look
people.
at that crowd. Remember a couple of weeks ago, you'd see Twitter trolls saying, why is nobody there? Where's all the support? That's the most support you're ever going to see for somebody charged with.
I can't hear you, but I'm flipping between 3 channels. I don't know if you'll ever see Karen Read is freed. Boston 25 seems to have the best camera right now and the best positioning. Law and Crime is kind of blurry and they don't have a great position. And Vinny is up, but it's like a split screen and there's nothing really great, but I will break to it if the attorneys start talking.
I don't know if you could have heard me earlier. I was saying how the amount of people that are out there for an acquitted murder defendant is more than I've ever seen in anything. And as recently as a week ago, you had Twitter trolls, if you recall, saying, where did everybody go? Where did everybody go? Where's all this support?
Right.
And the answer is it's right there. It is. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah. Redemption song. That's going on the playlist today. Redemption song for sure. I feel like I want to let Boston 5 do this because they're doing a fine job here. Although I don't know why their sound just cut out.
These are people who are supporting a woman who is accused of murdering a good man and police officer, and you never see this kind of support for someone in that position. You just don't see it, and it's look at this. This is unbelievable to see. And it just tells you how strongly people thought that this was a wrong prosecution, that it was a scandalous prosecution, a corrupt prosecution, and she won. She fought the system and won. And it took 3.5 years. It took what felt like 27 lawyers and 1 million experts and 1 million this. Lots of donations from people at all levels of income, lots of support, lots of, boots on the ground, as they call it, other things. And this is amazing to watch.
Yeah. How's that watch party at the VFW call going now? How's that watch party going now? We did it. Karen Read is freed, posted microdots.
And she should be. And,
TV feed.
A lot of us, yourself included, myself included, thought she never should have been charged. This was a miscarriage of justice. At the same time, it goes without saying, whatever you think of John O'Keefe's people who supported him, some of those people are his family. And, this is probably extraordinarily tough for them. And, they deserve thoughts as well. Just,
of course,
sad because they're never going to get justice for what happened to their loved one. But you can't create justice by just persecuting an innocent woman to make everyone feel better. And I hope at some point they realize that and get justice and frankly ask the more difficult questions and whether they were fed things that perhaps they shouldn't have been fed by people with their own interest in the outcome. But
Right.
I certainly do wish his family, this is going to be extraordinarily tough for them to see.
It's always been about justice for John O'Keefe, but sending Karen Read to prison for murder for a car accident that didn't happen is not justice for John O'Keefe.
No.
People are saying Law and Crime has the best feed. This is Law and Crime. I disagree. This is Boston 25, and I imagine they're going to pivot to the courthouse steps as soon as they can. And this is Court TV with the split screen. They're taking some time inside, so we're not going to see the attorneys for a minute. I can't play Fox because they strike, even if it's fair use. So I'm not doing that. But I think the FBI is still watching. I think they're still waiting. And I think maybe, just maybe, one of these days, something's got to give, right?
I don't know, but I look, there's always winners and losers in this. And
Oh, there's
certainly
Kelly. There's Kelly.
There's Kelly.
Isn't that Kelly?
That's Kelly.
Blue blazer? Yeah.
Absolutely Kelly Read.
We see you, Kelly. You look beautiful.
Smile and wave if you're listening in the earphones now. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why we can't get volume on Boston 25. Find this one to be a little bit blurry. Let's check Boston 10. I want to hear what she says and what they all say when they come out. Associated Press will strike me. I can't play it.
Today is probably the end of Michael Morris's career as well. And, most would say exactly.
That's crazy that Mark said that a year ago, because here we are a year later and Michael Morris is still in office. He has not resigned. The new DA will be elected in November, but it's June 2026, 1 year after Mark made that prediction, and Michael Morrissey still is the district attorney of Norfolk County. Crazy.
I need someone to start playing top pennies. Won't back down. That's what I got. That's good too.
Pause. The election is in September. Okay, sorry. The election's in September. Thank you, friend a dog, for gifting 10 memberships. Yes, I'm live. I'm just not on camera right now watching myself watch myself from 1 year ago. But I feel that this deserved a replay to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of Karen's acquittal. And I'm going to let it play a little bit more. Brings back all the feels.
I know. I saw him the third last show.
Tick, tick, boom. You hear it?
You're watching Marvel. How do you know Morris's house tonight? Let's go. I'm gonna have to go back inside. I'm not even inside like this.
Boston 25 has good camera, but no audio.
See,
Vinny's trying to talk to some people in the crowd.
They have to fill the time somehow until they come out, right? That's what they're
Right.
waiting for the big exit. And yeah, they've got one camera for you. Is that them or no, not yet?
There's Boston 10. Can you hear them chanting Morrissey resign? Morrissey resign. Wow, look at the overhead shot. All the people. What do you guys have audio on this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. People are saying the audio is not, I don't know, shut down on the other channels, but let's just stick here for now. Stop telling me where to switch to, please. We're here. If you want to go watch it on a different channel, you're free to go. Even a year ago, people were bossing me around and telling me how to run my show. Funny how things haven't changed. Yes, we need this for Aiden right now. Yes, we need this for Aiden right now. 100% agree. Little boy was right. Little boy was right. Wait, that audio of me saying Turtle Boy was right was a year ago. Let me hear that again. Did we hear the chants or something? Hold on. We're here. If you want to go watch it on a different channel, you're free to go. Turtle Boy was right. Turtle Boy was right. You can't hear the feed. Refresh your own browser. You are responsible for your own volume. Please stop. Let me see if I can fast forward to when they come out and speak outside the court. Wow, look at this overhead shot from a year ago. Wild. I don't know if anybody ever figured out how many people were actually there outside the courthouse, but I don't think you'll ever see this again. Although, you know, Aiden deserves this. He's the reason for Aiden spending 60 days in jail was because he was so outspoken about the murder of John O'Keefe. Okay. Anybody who doesn't see that is just insane.
And that's not the case, or should have been brought in. The wild card here, anyway, I think certainly the dynamic has changed.
Second, just to ask you, what do you think will happen with Aiden's charges now? Do you think they'll drop the charges against Turtle Boy? If you're only listening or driving or something and not watching the screen, that was what I asked Mark a year ago. And let's listen to his answer from a year ago. So if you're not watching your screen, it might be a little bit confusing. My camera's off, but I'm talking. I'm playing the video from a year ago. And I asked Mark that question a year ago. What do you think will happen with Turtle Boy's charges? Do you think that they will drop them? Let's see what Mark says. Because at that time, remember, Mark was on Turtle Boy's team. He was not allowed to be on Karen Read's team because Judge Cannoni denied his pro hoc vice application to join Karen's team. But he was representing Aiden at the time. Right? Yeah.
No, not immediately anyway. I think certainly the dynamic has changed. Again, without getting too much into the weeds of it about what certain people think is, you know, witness intimidation and what is not. The wild card here is he took a strong opinion on a corrupt criminal case that we all think is corrupt and never should have been brought. And his opinions about the case were just entirely vindicated. I mean, you know, you see the signs to say he was right. The jury agreed she was not guilty, and that's very important, obviously. So that when the time comes for those charges to be dealt with, which we will, everyone will know that Karen Read was acquitted on every charge related to the death of John O'Keefe. So I'm not going to pretend that that's not a significant thing. It is. It's helpful, and we'll have to see what the political fallout is. You know, there's a cottage industry in Norfolk County of hiring special prosecutors, but the person who hires them is Michael Morrissey. And who knows how long he's going to be DA? Who knows how much more tolerance the taxpayers of that county are going to have for these ill-conceived prosecutions that they're paying for again and again. We'll just have to wait and see. But, you know, he's vindicated in that regard. There wouldn't be a crowd out there right now if he didn't start covering this case. Whether you like him or not, that's just a fact.
Praise be. He said it a year ago, and I'm going to say it again now. Please don't come in and spread misinformation in the chat. Courtside Cupcake says, why is Bederow not on Turtle Boy's team anymore? He is on Turtle Boy's team. Who said he wasn't? That is inaccurate. Inaccurate comments get deleted because we don't like to spread misinformation here. Yeah. Praise Turtle Boy, everyone. Forget about Keir. Praise Turtle Boy. She got sentenced already, so she had to be processed for the probation, right? So she had to probably head on over to another department in the building, and that's what's taking so long. We have a special guest joining us right now, and here she is. She's our girl, Kelly Read.
We did it. We did it.
Are you crying? I'm not crying. You're crying. You're crying.
Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for everything. We could not have done it without you. And look at all these people.
Wow. Wow.
And I got to hug Aiden, and wow, we did it.
We did it.
Finally over.
You did it. We did it. We all did. It took an army, Cal. It took an army, not just a village.
And we could not have done it without you
full-on
guys,
army.
honestly. I got my love glasses on. I think I've been interviewed on like 10 stations and newspapers. I have no idea who any of them were. I'm shaking from the inside out. I cannot wait to hug my family. Wild down here.
I know they're showing like overhead shots. I have Law and Crime on, and they're doing like drone shots, and you can see like the gold dome of the courthouse, and you can see like how many. I don't know what's the estimate on how many people are there. Thousands. It looks
I
like.
don't know, but drown it out in pink.
Yeah, it is pink. It's all pink. We lost Kelly. We lost Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looks like we lost her.
Service stinks there. Oh,
Okay.
here she is. You're back. We lost you. Oh,
Am I, can you see me?
We can see you.
now we can.
Okay, I'll walk a little bit through the crowd and you can say hi.
Okay.
Want to say hi to Jess and
I'm
Michelle?
ugly crying. Jess, I'm really upset that you didn't get in there. We heard from Aiden tweeted that they didn't let you in, and they or
She's
to
saying the really
Daniel.
sweet things about you, but I have my AirPod in. I have my AirPod in. Let me take
Oh
it
yeah,
out.
so just you got to disconnect. I think from the Bluetooth. We had this problem.
I did. Okay.
Okay, Jess, we heard Aiden tweeted that they wouldn't let you come back into the courtroom, and or Ted Daniel, and we're pissed about it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you get to hug our girl Kelly. Give her hugs from us. Oh wow, I forgot Jess came on that day too. Remember, Jess Machado gave her seat up for Turtle Boy in the courtroom because he couldn't get in for some reason, and so she had a seat and she gave up her seat for him. I forgot about this part. I haven't watched this in a long time.
Yes, we're so happy. We cannot stop hugging and crying, and it was brutal. And I didn't even know that they sentenced her. Jess had to tell me because I couldn't stop crying. I didn't hear what she said.
1 year probation.
I know.
1 year probation. The first decent thing that Hank Brennan has done since he took this case was say, I want her sentenced right now, and then say, I recommend 1 year probation and a 24D program or whatever the hell that means. And she's probably being processed right now in probation or wherever in the courthouse. And then as soon as they come out,
But I
we'll
can't
break
wait
the
to hug
steps.
Bill Reed.
I know
cannot
he's
wait
your
to hug Bill
cousin.
Reed.
People might not know that you're Bill's cousin, and you've been here since the beginning, and you've done so much. I don't know if she gave up her seat for closing arguments or the verdict. I don't remember which. You're right, though. Maybe it was for closing arguments. I don't know. But let's stay away from the drama. I don't know who's fighting with who. I don't care who's fighting with who. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to get justice for John O'Keefe, however flippin' long it takes. So if you're gonna, please don't bash anyone in the chat, whether you think I like that person or not. It's just not cool. We don't do that here. Okay, so I'm not feeding into the drama, not feeding into the rage baiting and the chaos agents, because if you ever read The Art of War, you would know that 90% of this is intentional, okay, by people outside who are trying to break up what's inside. So just knock it off. Take it somewhere else. So much to help Karen and raise money for the defense fund and sell popcorn, and you've done all of the things and all of this stuff.
It was my pleasure. I would do anything for my family, and I wish for Karen whatever she's wishing for herself, whatever will make her heart and her soul happy now after what she's been through. I hope she gets it and then some.
Wow.
What are they saying?
I don't know. I can't hear. What are they
I
saying?
think they're saying Bev needs to go.
Oh, wow.
Well, the gag order is gone, so batten down the hatches because I'm sure it's coming from all sides.
Yeah, I can barely hear you guys. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All right. I just wanted to say hello and say thank you and tell you both how much I love you, and I appreciate everything you've done, the countless hours that you put into this and explaining it all legally and being there for us personally. I love you both.
We love you too.
Very much a part of this day and this movement and freeing Karen, especially you, Bederow.
Thank you.
Forever.
Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, Cal. Talk later.
Bye.
Bye. Wow.
It's nice to see, isn't it?
It really is. Just to correct the chat on just something, Kelly Read is Bill Reed's cousin. She's not Karen's cousin. She's Bill Reed's cousin. So I don't know if that makes I don't know. I was never good at figuring out second cousins, third cousins, but Kelly Read is Bill Read's cousin. That's the relationship. But Kelly Read worked tirelessly and selflessly through both trials to do all kinds of things, from coordinating lunches for the team to setting up Yannetti's office in Dedham. I mean, she was working 24/7. That girl. There is nobody stronger than Kelly Read. She's an amazing human, an amazing person, and I'm so glad that I get to call her my friend still all these years later. She's one of the real ones. She's like human sunshine. It's been a long time coming.
Apparently, Aiden is on Fox News right now.
Yeah, they don't let me play it. They'll get mad at me. So if you guys, and it might be just only on the actual television. So if you have it on your television, tell us what he's saying. Okay, well, we couldn't play that. So let me see if I can fast forward to if they ever come out of the courthouse. Let's see. Hold on. And I know we did see that part. As the black cars, I think, come up to pick them. I don't know. There's looks like there's a caravan of big giant Suburbans. They talked to some people outside the courthouse, and as we waited for the team to come out, let's see.
Canoni came out and said, "Well, I was told I'm."
It is second.
People left here, crowd. There were not a lot of crowds out here. A lot of it had to do that had been under their attorneys for this doubt. Can we ask you?
It's a question. Whenever one.
There's a Cheech.
What did you think about the decision?
Absolutely fabulous. It's about time that the call made today. Yes.
What did you think about the decision?
Absolutely fabulous. It's about time that the Commonwealth gets it right.
Were you surprised, or did you think this was what would happen?
I actually had a really good feeling about it, but with that second or third question, whatever one, I thought it was going to get hung up on that again and do another retrial, or mistrial, whatever you want to call it. I'm so excited I can't even think right now.
We're waiting for the attorneys to come out to give a statement. The podium's been set up with mics, so we're watching the coverage on Boston 10.
I think they told a better story. It was more concise.
Cheech.
It was easier to follow.
She came on my show yesterday with the girl with the sunglasses.
Thoughtful and thorough job explaining what happened.
How about the prosecution? They sort
And whatever he's going to get.
Yeah.
great job, the folks.
Here they come. Here they come.
Police that are working, and it looks like we might have some folks.
Here we go. Come back to your screen. I mean, the roar was deafening. The roar was deafening. I just want to point out that I said Turtle Boy was right. We didn't hear any chanting, so I don't know if I started that phrase or not, but I'm not going to try and copyright it, just so you know.
So why don't I throw it back to you guys?
Okay, here they come.
Ronnie, thank you very much.
Here they come.
In the courthouse, you see Alan Jackson there and Karen Read holding her right hand over her heart as they look out to the crowd. The other times that they've left the courthouse over the last few days, it's been to silence.
Look at the joy on David's
face. Not to make noise so that they don't disturb the jury deliberations. This time is different. This time, this is a victory walk. She has been acquitted
victory walk
of all of the murder charges in this case, convicted only of a lesser included charge of operating a vehicle under the influence. This crowd has waited a long time to hear from her. Let's listen in as well.
Number one is I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters who have supported me and my team financially and, more importantly, emotionally for almost 4 years. And the second thing I want to say is no one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have and my team. Thank you.
And guess what? She's still fighting. It's 1 year later, and she's still fighting the corrupt machine that tried to convince the world that John O'Keefe was hit by a car and pin it on the girl. She's still fighting a year later. And guess what? She did thank everybody right there. I don't know why everyone says she never thanked anybody, but she did. And look at Alan Jackson with his arms in the air. And her dad, Bill Read, who became America's dad, he was stood by her the entire time, emotionally, financially, in so many different ways. I'm gonna let it keep playing.
Bill took his gum out. You know what that means.
No, the case cannot be reopened. Alan, what case is over? No, I mean, the case is margin for someone else. What did you say? I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it to Karen. Her dad. Her dad
This is what I wanted to hear.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. I want to acknowledge the strength of our daughter Karen, the support of the entire Reed extended family. I want to acknowledge the greatest team of attorneys. Our first one that we found was David Yannetti. We added Alan Jackson and Liza Little. Bob Alessi, you know about. All right. It was a fantastic team, but we needed them all to defeat this. We thank everybody for their support from the heart. We love you all of the content providers who help spread the word. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Investigation. Let's do this.
Look at David Yannetti pumping his arms. Did you hear Bill Reed thank all the content creators? That was very kind of him. He didn't need to do that. But Karen Read knew that her story was not getting out there, and mainstream media was not covering it because nobody cared. Everyone heard there was ring camera footage of the incident. News at 11. People thought, oh, a drunk lady just knocked her boyfriend over and killed him. Probably didn't even know it. Whatever. And it wasn't true. It wasn't true. Nobody asked me to cover this story ever. It was my idea to cover this story. It was my investigation and my reading of the papers and my deep dive into this that gave me such a passion about this case. Nobody ever asked me to cover this case ever. Listen to that again.
We love you all of the content providers who help spread the word. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Investigation. Let's do this.
Look at David. Wow. You never see emotion out of him.
I don't know who looked happier there, David Yannetti pumping his fists in the air, or Mr. Reed, Karen's dad,
William Reed, yeah,
who just said he acknowledged the strength of our daughter, support from Reed's.
And we're going to pop over to Court TV because they were a few minutes behind. That was that. Wasn't that glorious? That we finally got to watch that together. It just was. It just was. To Making It Count says, I can't wait to see moments like these again when Karen Read and Turtle Boy have additional court victories, and they are both so very deserving of. I mean, think of all the things that have happened in the last year. All of the dirt that has come out, all of the cobwebs that have been cleared out of the corners, and they're going down. Proctor is done. Proctor's phone extraction is going to destroy not just Proctor. Sean Good has been also thrown out. There's some paperwork that came out about, I guess the post commission suspended him or something such as like that. I haven't had a chance to even read it yet. How many people have gone down in the last year? If you think this is over, you're mistaken. It's not done yet. Karen Read was the one fighting hardest for justice for John O'Keefe, and it is still going on. It is not done yet. Apparently in September, I was wrong about that. In September, there's the primary for district attorney race for Norfolk County. There's been some debates. I haven't caught up on any of that stuff. I think tonight Emily C is hosting a fundraiser for Adam Deitch. I'm not quite sure, but I think that's what it's about. So check out Emily C tonight. I don't have a chance to look at anything else. I barely have a chance to prep my own shows, as you can see, because I'm always flying by the seat of my pants over here, because it's like my streams are like a stream of consciousness. There's streams of consciousness. I plan things and then I wind up going in a totally different direction because we bring things up and we talk about them and we move to something different. And that's just the way it goes. It's hard for me to make thumbnails because I never know what I'm going to want to talk about. Mark McKay says, I'm going to get emotional all over again. What a day. Did you? Did anybody else cry? I'm crying harder now than last year, says Marilyn Price with a $2.27 super chat. Well done, girl. Forever Exaniel says, think of all we know now compared to that day. And you know who else has taken the baton now? Rosemary Scapiccio, the attorney for Miles King, Sean Johnson, and others, who is not going to stop until she burns down the whole house of Norfolk County. And I'm here for every minute of it. Kelly says, now time for real justice for Officer John O'Keefe. Yep. Zoni Cole says, this is so perfect for my ride from Rhode Island to Pennsylvania. Oh, I not if you're driving. Don't look at the screen if you're driving. I don't want to cause any accidents. Thanks for being here for 9 months. So go back and watch the portions that you couldn't watch the screen for later. Please be safe. Safety first. Courtside Cupcakes, as I was there in person the day before the verdict was reached. She says, the movement was unlike anything I've ever seen. I will never forget it. Let's look at the, there was a video, thank you, honey, that BoozeyBeauty took outside the courthouse that day. I wanted to show you this as well. Let's flip over to here. Thanks, BoozeyBeauty, for posting this. It's about 2 minutes long. Look at there's a giant sign that says Sandra Birchmore with a QR code right on the courthouse steps. Oops. This is BoozeyBeauty's video. It says, 1 year ago today, I witnessed history in the making. Says Karen Read could finally rest, knowing there was no more worry of a trial looming over her head. Some thought that she would take a plea deal or choose the easy way out. It turned into a fight not only for her own life, but also to unveil the systemic rot of Norfolk County. It was Karen's persistence, her team's tenacity, and the public outcries that helped shape where we stand today. Look, there's confetti and everything, American flags. Turns out that this was so much more than just an episode. It's a whole damn series. Nope, I can't play music, so I will stop it there, or I will just mute it and let the rest of Boozey's video play out. We're on season 3, and we're at season 4 is when some people wind up in handcuffs. Great montage. Yep, Steve-O says, scariest part is that they had no issue trying to put an innocent woman in prison. They should pay for that legally. Yeah. It's already a trilogy. A hat trick. Season 4, upcoming. Thank you, BoozeyBeauty, for posting that so that we can relive the moments that you were there for. Here's what I was going to show you before. Linked underneath this video is the Karen Read trial mixtape. We made a mixtape during the trials, both trials, and it is, look at this. It's 195 songs. It's over 13 hours of music. It's linked in the show notes below. You can just save it into your Spotify. And this is every single song. I think in song lyrics. So these are all the songs that we came up with and you came up with during both trials, and they're all on this list for you. If you ever need 13 hours of music, it's right here. Everything from Taylor Swift to Peter Gabriel, Talking Heads, Thompson Twins. Remember the Lollipop song that we used to sing every time Lally came into the courtroom? Crumbling Down, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. That was for Jennifer McCabe. Praying by Kesha. Chain of Fools, White Lines, Give Me 3 Steps. Oh my God, everything. All of the music that we were singing. All American Rejects. If You See My Face, Hope It Gives You Hell, Hope It Gives You Hell. Such a great song. Twilight Zone, Once in a Lifetime, Shakedown Street. Oh, I love this. I love the 5-finger death punch. A little bit off today. There's a little bit of lore behind that song. Friends in Low Places. We've got more Peter Gabriel, some Grateful Dead, Magical Mystery Tour, because the Sally Port was like the Magical Mystery Sally Port, right? No, I'm not wearing the same shirt, Autodoc. It's a different color. I'm wearing pink today. The shirt I had on that day was a sweater. The things that people focus on are just wild. Just wild. Every song has a memory. Sledgehammer, Truckin'. It's the end of the world as we know it. We put a little U2 in there because I think that Karen told us that was her favorite song. She told somebody, oh, it wasn't me by Shaggy. That was like their favorite defense. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. The Benny Hill theme song. Fleetwood Mac's Little Lies. Pick Up the Pieces by Average White Band. There's a good one. That was all about the taillight. Picking up the pieces of the taillight. Red Solo Cup by Toby Keith. People get ready. A little Curtis Mayfield on here. Hit me with your best shot. There's a song called Chloe Dancer by Mother Loves Bone on there, and a Macklemore song called Taillights. We've got everything. There's a little something for Waterfalls by TLC. How long has this been going on? I Won't Back Down, Tom Petty. Can I Get a Witness? Marvin Gaye. You ain't seen nothing yet. Your time is going to come. We got to get out of this place by the Animals. This is a classic playlist right here. Like a mixtape like no other mixtape. Ramble on. Remember, there were some witnesses that just like to ramble on, ramble on, ramble on. Poor Lally was the nowhere man. That was from the first trial. Raise Your Glass by Pink was in there because of the cocktail glass that didn't match any of the other glass. Remember, Rollins Band Liar. That's another great song. I'm a liar. I'm a liar. Get Lucky, because Lucky was the star witness for many of us. Sharp Dressed Man. Who do we put that on for? Alan Jackson, maybe being the Sharp Dressed Man. Walking on Broken Glass. It's linked in the show notes below. Do you believe in magic? Girl on Fire. This is just Turn the Lights Back On by Billy Joel, because remember they got to keep turning the lights on and off during the exhibits that were being shown in court. She blinded me with science because of all the women in STEM that were on the stand. Love it. Blues Traveler. We got it all. Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap. We got it all. We might have to start adding to it again. Ship of Fools. 2 versions of Ship of Fools. 2 different songs called Ship of Fools. One by the Doors and one by the Grateful Dead. We Didn't Start the Fire. Oh, this is so good. That's right. You're not from Texas. I think that's because Alan Jackson said something like, I'm not from Texas, but we ain't got no quit, or something like that. Do you remember that? I see right through you, Alanis Morissette. I think, who was it? I think Karen said, I just see right through him. Like somebody asked her if it bothered her that Paul O'Keefe was staring at her, and she said, I just see right through him. So good. She's already made up her mind. That was a Lyle Lovett song that we put on there for the judge, because I always said she's already made up her mind. She's not going to listen to anything that they have to say. Don't stand so close to me. A lot of people getting in other people's personal space. And Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. Remember that one? I get knocked down, but I get up again. Such good stuff. Suspicious Minds. They're more Taylor Swift. Go on, listen to it when you need something to listen to, or you're on a long drive. It's good stuff right there. How many songs are on it so far? Let's see what the last song that came on the playlist was. It's 195 songs. The last one added to this is Meghan Trainor, Lips Are Moving. I know you're lying. Your lips are moving. Oh, and look, She Lied to the FBI by Alkaline Trio. We have it all. Little something for everyone. Some good stuff. You can go look at that yourself and check it out. But I suggest that you check the playlist before you suggest another song, because most everything that we could think of, there's 195 songs on there. Are on there. All right, let us take a look at because I thought it would be interesting to go back and watch the interview from the foreman of the Karen Read jury to see what he had to say in his interview when he gave the interview to Fisher College. So let me pull that up for you. But first, let's go to the chat and check out some of your questions, comments, concerns. Thanks on top for your super sticker. I appreciate you so much. Baby Shark says, I'm sorry I'm late. I was busy not turning over evidence. Well done. Well done, Baby Shark. Hilarious. Thanks for being here for 7 months. Strange Credulity says, every time I cry like a baby. Again, effing again. Next witness is here. Says, thanks for keeping us focused on what's important. Yes, our job is not done here. We are not done here, okay? We still have a turtle to free. We still have to find out who murdered John O'Keefe and if anybody covered it up. And we still have to show that the First Amendment is still alive and well. And talking about court documents and court papers and things in court filings is not defamation. I'm just saying. Strange Fragility, thanks for your 5, says, thanks, Melanie. Honestly, I've never been so passionate about anything in my entire 43-year life. The world is still watching. They're still watching. You're all still watching. You know who else needs help? Edrick Faust. I got to brainstorm some ways that we can help him because he wants to hire Brian Steele as his appellate attorney, and it costs money. Chelsea says, can we watch the Monty Python clip with Bederow? That's so funny. That is so funny, but I just don't have it handy. So I love when you guys make suggestions, but I can't stop what I'm doing to try and find it. Like, I just don't have the clip handy. JD says it does go to the top. They're trying hard to shield it. Crazy Train needs to be added for sure. It's already on there. It's already on there. Dumpster Fire Show. Thanks to Reduce. Night Owl Nurse, thank you for your 20. I appreciate you. And Cindy says, free the turtle. It's been a ride. Yeah, it sure has been. Okay, so this interview was done at Fisher College all the way back November 13th, 2025. So it was 5 months after the verdicts came in. And this is the foreman from the Karen Read trial being interviewed on stage at Fisher College. And I think it's going to be really interesting because I haven't seen it yet. So let's watch this together. I think maybe we saw a clip or two. It's a good way to spend the 1 year anniversary. Well, it's really the day after, but yesterday we had other things going on that were live. Okay, here we go. What's wild to me about this is it doesn't have a lot of views, this video.
Karen Read, a reflective. Good afternoon and welcome to Fisher College Speaker Series. Today it's the Commonwealth versus Karen Read, a reflective of one of the most shocking, sensational murder trials in Massachusetts history. I'm Stephen Rich, the president of Fisher College. Today we are honored to have with us a man who knows this case better than probably anyone. Charlie DeLoach is the jury number 1 in the second Karen trial and has served as a jury foreman. We also have here a true friend of Fisher College and a longtime advocate of Fisher is Casey Sherman, a best-selling true crime writer. For the next hour, we'll be exploring the weight of the evidence, the intense pressure inside the jury room, and the explosive allegations of police corruption and lingering questions about the historical case. Please silence your cell phones, and please welcome Charlie DeLoach and Casey Sherman.
All right, thank you. Thank you, President Rich. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Fisher College for those of you who aren't students or faculty here. As President Rich said, my name is Casey Sherman. I'm an investigative journalist, New York Times and USA Today #1 best-selling author of 20 books.
That's awesome. I've never heard of him before. Has anyone heard of this guy before? What's his name? Casey Sherman. Okay, Casey Sherman, shout out to you.
Including Helltown, Hunting Whitey, the inside story about the capture and killing of America's most wanted crime boss, and Patriots Day, which was adapted into the acclaimed film starring Mark Wahlberg. Now, I've covered over 200 homicides in my career, including the reinvestigation of my aunt's murder in the Boston Strangler case.
Oh, wow, his aunt was murdered by the Boston Strangler. Interesting. No, this is not where Karen Read taught. She taught at Bentley. Maybe this guy, Casey Sherman, maybe he can help Charlie DeLoach write his book. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Investigation is now the subject of the #1 rated true crime documentary in America called Boston Strangler: Unheard Confession, now streaming on Hulu.
Oh, come on,
Today,
really?
it's my honor to be joined by Charlie
Shameless
DeLoach,
plugs.
better known as Juror #1, the jury foreman for the second Karen Read murder trial. Charlie, thank you for your participation today.
Charlie.
So folks, this is going to be a fascinating conversation, and then we're going to open the discussion up for some Q&A. Does that sound good to everybody? Excellent. So let's start with just a little preamble for those of you who don't know about the Karen Read case. In the early morning hours of January 29, 2022, during an intense snowstorm, the body of Boston police officer John O'Keefe is found lying in the snow outside the home of fellow Boston police officer Brian Albert at 34 Fairview Road in Canton, Massachusetts. The medical examiner rules the cause of death was blunt impact injuries to the head. Now, O'Keefe's girlfriend is arrested, and a Norfolk County grand jury indicts her on second-degree murder, manslaughter, and while operating on the influence of alcohol charges and charges for leaving the scene of personal injury and death. Her name is Karen Read, and she goes on trial in May 2023, and that trial ends up in a hung jury. But DA Michael Morrissey, he insists he's going to try Karen Read again. This time, he brings in a special prosecutor. His name is Hank Brennan, who had previously defended and befriended notorious mob boss, cold-blooded killer, James Whitey Bulger.
All right, well, this guy, Casey Sherman, is that his name? Sounds like he's writing a book. Sounds like he's reading from a book that he's already writing. It sounds like he gets it because he already wrote a book on Whitey Bulger. And I have to keep interrupting and talking because, you know, fair use and all. But I guess we're going to find out where Casey Sherman stands real quick.
Jury selection for trial #2 begins on April 1st, April Fool's Day, 2025.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I forgot about that. I forgot that jury selection started on April Fool's Day. How apropos. You couldn't even script this.
Charlie, is that the first time that you entered that courtroom in Dedham?
Yes. It was the first time I entered the courtroom in Dedham. And I didn't think I was going to get picked.
So why didn't you think, first of all, you said you didn't want to get picked. Now, why didn't you think you would get picked in the first place?
Because I was trying to be home by 12. So, but it didn't happen that way. I got picked at 11:45.
Now, you were telling me that you knew a little bit about the case going in, but you kind of played dumb because you didn't want to get picked. And did that serve you, or did that serve the prosecution and defense?
It backfired on me because I was the first one picked. So, yeah.
So it took 15 days to seat this jury. Can you talk a little bit about the makeup of the jury itself? You know, the number of men, the number of women, some of their backgrounds, if you got to know them?
It was 9 men, 9 women, 3 Black, 2 Hispanic, and the rest was Caucasian. So, yeah.
So I would offer to bet that you were probably the only juror who'd been selected who had actually seen violent crime up close and personal. I want to talk about, you know, where you grew up and how you grew up, Charlie.
Wait, why are you willing to bet that he's the only juror who saw crime up close and personal? Why? Because he's Black? What does that even mean? Happy Juneteenth. What the hell was that? That was so cringe. Listen to it again.
Yeah.
So I would offer to bet that you were probably the only juror who'd been selected who had actually seen violent crime up close and personal. I want to talk about, where you grew up and how you grew up, Charlie.
I was born and raised in Bromley Heath Projects in Jamaica Plain in the early 80s. I'm number 6 out of 7 kids in my family. We all lived in like a 5-bedroom, and there was always shootings, whatever you want to say, outside my window. My father kind of sheltered us from a lot of it, but it was at a point where me and my brothers used to kind of figure out what gun that was or whatever. Oh, is that
just by the sound of the gunshot?
By the sound or whatever. We at times it got really bad where we had to sleep next to the wall and lower our beds and stuff, so there wouldn't be stray bullets or anything coming through our windows.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you were a youngster during the time of the infamous Charles Stewart case, when a married white husband murdered his pregnant wife and then blamed it on a black man. Now, what did it feel?
Okay, he's reading his questions off a piece of paper, but also it sounds like they spoke before. It becomes obvious, says Amelia, that they spoke before and that he knew this stuff about Charlie, so okay. He already knew this stuff, but I don't know why he said it's safe to say that you're the only one who was familiar with violent crime. I don't know if he, spoke to all of the other jurors too, but okay.
Like, dealing with Boston cops who were turning around every urban neighborhood in the city at that time?
Well, it was scary for my dad, my mom's, because at that time I was probably like 10 years old, but when I was 10 years old, I was also 5'10". So I didn't look like a little boy or a 10-year-old boy. I looked like a man. So me, my other 2 brothers, we always would walk together so we wouldn't, if one got in trouble, other one ran, the other one stayed. So we always, if we even went to the store, we went anywhere outside, it was 3 of us. Or same thing with my sisters and everything. It was 3 of us, we leave out or whatever. But in the height of like the Charles Stewart case, it was scary because they was targeting black men. And a lot of us, did we get stopped? Yes, we got stopped multiple times. Where you going? Where you coming from? Do you live around here? And this is the cops and everything. So,
and then when you learn that.
This is why jury selection is so important. This is a great example of why jury selection is so important, because I say this every time we're covering a case or we talk about jury selection, is that jurors come in to a trial after being selected and they do not leave their common sense at the door. They do not leave their personal experiences at the door. And the way that their own personal experiences have shaped them and their thought processes. And so based on what Charlie is telling us, he gets it. He understands profiling. He understands cops wanting to pin something on a guy for no other reason than his color. He was 5'10" when he was 10 years old. What? And so it's interesting to hear this, because that is so important when you come into jury selection, to kind of like feel these things out. And he gets it. He gets it. He's going to tell us about what happened when he was a kid.
It was actually a husband who had blamed an African-American for the murder of his pregnant wife. How did you feel about that after being harassed on the street so long?
I just felt like it was just another day in a certain way,
Just another
because
day.
it is from what I used to deal with in the projects of getting stopped and harassed by, and we didn't have normal like police officers. It was BHA, Bromley Heath authorities. I mean, no, it was what do you call it? We had our own police for the projects, and it wasn't Boston Housing Authorities didn't come in until '99 or whatever after the big raid and everything, but they had their own police authority. They had a couple of cops that always would harass us and stuff like that if you walk through a certain building or anything like that. So it was always you watching someone either get slammed to the ground, when the term was a high tech to the neck. So they would put their boot on your neck so you won't move so they could search you.
Oh my
and
God.
Stuff. So this was just something I was privy to. It was like normal to me in a certain aspect, but just another day in the projects.
Just another day in the projects. And you really kind of had to, defend yourself, protect your friends.
Well, yeah, it was more or less like you watch what you say to certain people and certain cops that was there, so it was, in that raid, a lot of those cops was dealing and doing everything inside the projects also. But
So the cops are the criminals sometimes in that case.
So that's just a different story, but.
So let's get.
So he came in with the mindset of, the cops can be the criminals. They can be the criminals. Thank you, Stephanie, for your instructions. Says, can you please enable closed captioning during your lives? YouTube Studio, create your live stream settings, look for closed captions, automatic captions. I do not stream directly through YouTube. I stream through StreamYard, and so that is not a possibility. That's for people who stream directly through YouTube. I have the closed captions on for the video that we're watching right now. Hopefully that helps you. But I do not stream directly through YouTube, and I think that is what that setting is. After my video is over on replay, those closed captions do populate. And so if you can't watch me live for whatever reason, because I don't have the captions for when I speak, then it might be better to just wait for the replay because they populate that way. Thanks for your super chat. Charlie telling us that you've seen the interview and the end is scary. All right, we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait for the end. Helena says, in the Army now, status quo. And thank you, Tiggy Girl, for your 5. Says, thanks for all you do for each little boy.
Back to the Read case here. So Judge Bev Canoni selected you to serve as jury foreman. Why do you think she did that?
I don't know, but from what I heard, they select the first one, but maybe she thought I wasn't going to be able to sway the rest of them or whatever. But I mean, I didn't take.
He thinks, wait a second. He thinks that Judge Canoni selected him because she thought that he would not be able to sway the rest of them. Wow, that's interesting. It's not that. Lisa says, I can put captions on my own YouTube while I'm watching you, Melanie. Okay, there's another great option. Thank you. So Stephanie, you can do that as well on your own end, on your own YouTube. I didn't know it worked that way. Thanks.
One note, I didn't have to after the first witness. It was just like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. So.
Wait, what? Whoa, hold on. Okay, remember who the first witness was in trial number 2? The first witness, the guy who was going to be the star of the whole show because Hank Brennan built his whole opening around him. Tell me if you know. I know you know who the first witness was. It was, hold on, let's get the drum roll ready. The first witness in trial number 2, called by Hank Brennan. He built his whole flipping opening on it. It was Timothy Nuttall. Timothy Nuttall, who in trial number 1 said that we have a puffy jacket emoji for him. You guys know. He was so convinced in trial number 1 that John O'Keefe was wearing a puffy jacket because he clearly remembers cutting it off of him and the feathers going everywhere. And so here you go. Oh, it's not an option in the US? Okay, sorry. I have the captions on for the video that we're watching. Hopefully that helps. Let's try and stay on focus. Here we go.
I didn't take one note. I didn't have to after the first witness. It was just like, oh, okay. I see where this is going.
He didn't take any notes. He's the juror who didn't take any notes. Remember the people that were reporting live from the courtroom were saying there's one juror that doesn't take any notes and he's making me really, 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 really nervous. Here's why. Because after Timothy Nuttall testified, he's like, oh, I see where this is going. I see where this is going.
So, as we all know, you can smell bullshit from a mile away, but but that's what it was. And then after the first one, not even knowing that if the guy had a coat on or not, and you're EMT, and you don't know if a guy has a coat on, and hypothermia and all this other stuff. It was just fishy already to me.
So you get to visit the crime scene, 34 Fairview Road.
All right. Talks about him not having a jacket on. Right. You're an EMT and you don't know if a guy has a coat on and hypothermia and all that. It was just fishy already. Is this going to translate over into the civil case if it ever gets to a jury? It's very important to listen to what he has to say because he saw it as a guy who walked in here knowing nothing. And he was the foreperson of the jury, the foreman. I can say foreman because he is a man of the jury that acquitted Karen Read. Already fishy right away.
To me, so
you get to visit the crime scene, 34 Fairview Road in Canton. What did you notice about the crime scene that you thought was a little unusual?
Well, they was trying to direct us towards looking at the house, looking at the back of the car, and looking at the height of the car, looking at the ledge that sticks out. I mean, the spoiler that sticks out from the back of the car. And I was focused on the berm that was on the ground. And I was like, if she's supposed to back up and hit him with force, and she would have to stop, or you would have heard a screech, and none of that was said. There was a screech or anything. No one ran out the house, hearing her, got him getting hit or anything like that. It was just
nobody ran out of the house. Nobody ran out of the house. Nobody ran out of the house. He's focused on I call a curb, but there it's like a berm. It's still I don't know how high that berm is. That's what he's focused on. See, you never know what a jury is thinking. You never know what they're focusing on. And sometimes you try a case and the things that you're trying to get into the jury's head, they're not even hearing that. They have their own common sense.
like, there's more to this story. And I just was like, it was more like Karen, prosecution. And
you noticed a rock on the property, right? That you thought was a little
there was
suspicious?
a rock on the property, but we were supposed to strike that from our minds or whatever it was. But that didn't leave my mind still, because the rock said Albert on it. I was like, if they sold the house,
years after they sold the house.
If they already sold the house, then why would someone keep the name of Albert in their front lawn? But
Bam. He's clocking some of the prosecution problems, says Beachside, 100%. And he didn't fall for the rock trick. So it backfired on whoever put that rock there. They were told to disregard it, but he's like, let's see what he says after that. Why would anybody still have a house that with a rock that says Albert on it? The house was sold.
that was the very next day. She said, "Oh, strike that from the evidence or whatever." So
And wasn't the rock discolored as well?
It was kind of, it had a brown tint to it, and it looked like it was some kind of blood or something was on it. But once again, they told us to strike it from. So I didn't even put that into my process of even when we went in there to deliberate or anything.
Now,
he followed the directions of the judge and he disregarded what was supposed to look like a bloody rock that was stained in brown. Has there ever been any investigation into how that rock got there, or who put that rock there, or whether the Alberts ever had a rock like that on their property? But remember, because we did see video, it was so purposefully placed right in the front lawn. Like right there. It wasn't like hidden in a flower bed where somebody might not have ever seen it that moved into that house. I mean, it was like put there. So the person who put it there was trying to indicate that maybe somebody smashed John O'Keefe over the head with a rock, I guess, or after he was sideswiped, or what's the word that they like to use? Clipped. After he was clipped by Karen Read's right rear tail light and it exploded and chewed up his arm, that he did a pirouette and then he was thrown however many feet into the lawn and smashed his head on that rock. Is that what whoever put that rock there wanted the jury to believe? On the rock hard ground? Yeah, that's right. The rock wasn't a rubber duck, so no investigation for the rock. You're well done, Zoe, and well done. Lost and stuck in Detroit. I hope you're able to get out of Detroit soon.
Talk a little bit about the weather that night. Now, everybody that's followed the case, we've seen some of the surveillance video or the crime scene video, and it looks like a torrential snowstorm, but you're saying that snow didn't really get heavy until, early in the morning while O'Keefe's body was out there, or after that, rather.
Yeah. When the meteorologist came and he said the snow, at the time he got hit, it was like supposed to be 0.2. And then probably by at 3 o'clock, it was supposed to be 0.3. And then the accumulation really got up to like around 4:30, 5 o'clock, where the heavy snow started coming down at like 2 inches at a time or whatever. And then the snow stopped at around like 7 o'clock, around like 7:45 or something like that at night. I mean, in the morning, after the body was already taken away. So it was still snowing when the body was there and everything. But the body's temperature was 80 degrees when they found him.
Okay. And what did that tell you?
That told me that body wasn't there. At the time, it wasn't there for 6 hours. It was no way it was there for 6 hours, because even with the wind chill factor was the wind was 30 miles an hour, and the wind was 30 miles an hour, but it was 27 degrees outside. And for frostbite to settle in, it only takes a half an hour.
Oh,
after
he's so smart, and he didn't take any notes. And he's got a photographic memory, as you can see, because he's remembering all of the testimony in real time, because he told us he didn't take any notes. After Timothy Nuttall, he was like, oh, I see where we're going here. I don't need to take any notes. No frostbite. Exactly. Exactly. He clocked everything. We were yelling. Thanks, Scott McGinnis. Right? Amazing. Amazing.
If it's under a certain degree, if the wind is under the 32 degrees or something like that. So he had no frostbite on his hands. He was fine. And he didn't die from hypothermia. So
it's your belief that the body was...
Preach. Magnolia Gypsy says all the antis claiming this guy didn't pay attention. He had no frostbite on his hands, and he didn't die from hypothermia.
So
it's your belief that the body was placed there after John O'Keefe was killed?
I believe so. But that didn't come until like after the trial and me looking at so many different videos and everything else and putting that together. But during the trial, I just was waiting and just looking for that aha moment, and there was none
I was looking for that aha moment, and there was none. There was none. We were all waiting for it, Charlie. We watched season 1 too. We never got in season 1 either.
To make her guilty at all. It was just always like, oh, that witness sucked. So it was like,
oh, that witness sucked. Somebody has to make merch. Emily, make some merch for yourself. Oh, that witness sucked. Charlie DeLoach. Karen Read Foreman. Come on. I got to clip that so I have it as a soundbite. Oh, that witness sucked. Oh, I got to play that again.
Always like, oh, that witness sucked. So it was like, okay, oh, that's a lie. That's a lie. And it was just witness after witness after witness. And the only credible person I could say was probably Mrs. O'Keefe.
I was just going to mention that, right? So,
wow, the only credible witness. I thought he was going to say Lucky. He says the only credible witness was Mrs. O'Keefe. That's interesting. All right, let's hear what he says about Mrs. O'Keefe.
Mrs. O'Keefe.
I was just going to mention that, right? So,
and the only credible person I could say was probably Mrs. O'Keefe.
I was just going to mention that, right? So, you know, we can't lose sight here that John O'Keefe was killed, a Boston police officer, and Peggy O'Keefe, John's mother, took the stand, and it was the first time that she had ever spoken in public. Do you kind of remember what she said or what the impact?
Okay, correction. I'm being corrected. It's the only credible witness for the prosecution, right? For the prosecution. That's what he means.
Her words had on the jury?
I can't really remember what she said, but it was just the feel of the mother being up there and just she was broken up already trying to even talk about her daughter who passed and also her son-in-law who passed away. And then seeing her really break down when she's talking about John, and I still had to hold myself together and understand like, hey, I'm just going to go with the evidence still. I know I want justice for this mother, but at the same time, also need justice for if this woman is not the person that killed him. So I still went along slowly but surely. Nothing still gave me that aha moment till the end of the trial. So
you talk a little bit about the witnesses here. In early May, you and the jury listened to several angry voicemails that Karen Read left for John O'Keefe. So you're getting to hear Karen Read herself, even though she wasn't put on the witness stand.
Ooh, I want to know exactly what he thought about those voicemails. Like, I effing hate you. I effing hate you. You're a pervert. Remember, we heard all the voicemails too. Okay, girl, I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this.
You know, she said, John, I effing hate you. Did hearing, the vitriol in her voice shape your opinion of her anyway?
Well, I listened to all the text messages and in the chat, whatever it was.
Text from Karen to John,
Karen
correct?
to John. And even if you look at it, it's like how many people here have boyfriends and you pissed off at them and you don't know what they're doing or whatever, and you leave those text messages. A lot of y'all could be put up for murder then if it's like that. But it was not. It's just a woman.
Wow. Remember when Glare and I did a show? I think it was on Glare's channel, and we read the text messages. We did a dramatic reading of the text messages, and I was giving you, like, from a woman's point of view, what I thought it was about, and Will was giving you from his point of view what he thought it was about. And I said kind of like the same thing. Like she was ramping up because he wasn't answering her calls. You will not ignore me, Dan. He was not answering her calls. And so she was ramping up and getting madder and madder and madder. He saw it. He's like, yeah, we all have left voicemails like that before when we're angry and we don't know what our partner's doing and why they're not picking up the phone. And he's like, yeah, then if that was true, we could all be up for murder. Listen to what he says after that.
Off at them and you don't know what they're doing or whatever, and you leave those text messages. A lot of y'all could be put up for murder then if it's like that. But it was not. It's just a woman that's trying to find out. Even with the earlier text, it's just a woman just trying to find out where she stands in the relationship. And even she was yelling, screaming, whatever it was just her being upset. It wasn't really necessarily her being jealous or anything like that. There was a lot of shady stuff going on. He didn't come back out the house.
But even if she was jealous, so what? She's still not a murderer. She still didn't kill him. If she killed him, why would she be leaving him all those voicemails?
Jealous or anything like that. There was a lot of shady stuff going on. He didn't come back out the house. She was pissed. She had to go to the bathroom, so she went home.
What was her demeanor in the courtroom itself? You got to see her every day.
Ooh, that's so interesting too, that he was like, she had to go to the bathroom, so she went home. And where did that come out during the trial? Because Karen didn't testify. Was that in one of those interviews that Brennan played that he thought were going to be setting her up for a conviction? Did she say that to one of the reporters? Was it in one of those TV interviews that she gave or one of the documentaries? I don't recall.
What was her demeanor in the courtroom itself? You got to see her every day. How did you think she held up during the trial?
Well, she had this consistent snarl and look at each witness. And I just was like, in the beginning of the trial, I was like, I got to figure out what that face really means. I work with kids every day, that at-risk kids, and you don't.
Wow. So many people who thought she was guilty were blaming it on her facial expressions. Look at the way she looks. Look at her, the smirk that's on her face. Her skirts are too, I'll never forget when, was it Jennifer Coffendorfer that was on with Julie Grant and they were saying her skirts were too short for court? I don't remember exactly who it was. But a lot of people thought she should be convicted on the basis of her facial expressions alone, because that's the face of a guilty person, remember? But listen to this. Annie says, hindsight is 2020, but I so wish Karen would have gone into the house to use the bathroom. If you know anyone who has Crohn's or you have Crohn's yourself, you would know that the only bathroom you want to use is your own. You would not want to go into someone else's house to go to the bathroom. And I can completely understand why she would not want to do that. Listen to what he does for a living. And when I talk about common sense, he has so much insight from his own personal experiences. Listen to this.
I just was like, in the beginning of the trial, I was like, I got to figure out what that face really means. I work with kids every day, that at-risk kids, and you don't get to see their true face, and you got to break all these layers to get even a piece of who they are or whatever it is. So I was looking for what did that face mean, and why did she look at all these people this way? And then it came to my realization, like, because she's like, y'all fucking lying to me. Y'all lying to me. Y'all lying to me. Y'all lying about me and everything. So it was just a person that was just fed up with everybody lying to her or about her and stuff. So then I was just.
Wow. Wow. I love this guy.
Once again, I just went with whatever evidence Brennan was trying to present and everything. So.
And, you know, there was a piece of evidence that you thought Hank Brennan, the special prosecutor, had talked about, but you kind of didn't think that was accurate, some of the stuff he was talking about.
Well, that was kind of towards the end of the trial when he, when, was it Wolf? I think it was Wolf. He was up there and from ARCA, and he showed him the shirt. After we went and seen the video of how.
And this is the shirt that O'Keefe was wearing?
His hoodie that he was wearing, and the extra holes in the back, but it really was from the forensic person that was getting pieces of his hoodie. That's what it ended up to be. But when it actually initially happened, we was called to go back for a recess, and then I didn't know until like probably a couple of months ago that Lassie, he was trying to get a mistrial off of it.
Wow. All right. Redacted, doing redacted. Listen, Charlie's got a wedding ring on. Let's just settle down there. But he was suspicious about Brennan and the shirt with the holes in it that were from the forensic team. And he didn't believe him. And then he learned something else months later. I want to hear that again. Hold on. talking about how when he first became kind of suspicious of Brennan.
And he showed him the shirt after we went and seen the video of how.
And this is the shirt that O'Keefe was wearing?
His hoodie that he was wearing, and the extra holes in the back, but it really was from the forensic person that was getting pieces of his hoodie. That's what it ended up to be. But when it actually initially happened, we was called to go back for a recess, and then I didn't know until like
Right, because maybe he went back and watched the portion of the trial and what happened in court when Rockstar Alessi called out Brennan for it. Says nurse, not lawyer. That he clocks everything. He did not miss a thing. And then after the acquittal, he was probably excited to go back and find out all the stuff that happened when they were sent back into the other room, the stuff that didn't happen in front of the jury. And so much of it was done at sidebar that we only learned this stuff recently when the sidebar transcripts were released. But remember that shit show that happened when Alessi called out Brennan after the jury was sent out.
a couple of months ago that Lassie, he was trying to get a mistrial off of it because of how egregious it was and how he was trying to taint the jury pool and everything. So didn't know that till afterwards, but already after that point that we had to come back into court and then him have to apologize that this wasn't evidence. It was a medical examiner cutting it and trying to figure it out.
So he apologized to the jury?
Yes. So
he knew it was shady then. He knew it would be, here comes Melissa F. What could be more egregious? What could be more misleading than that? And what could be more important? Bob Alessi is worth every penny of the $2,000 plus an hour that he charges, says Mass Dad. He's one of the real ones.
So let's go back to April 2025. Key witness Jen McCabe takes the stand. She's questioned about her Google.
Charlie's face when he just says the word Jen, when he just says the name Jen McCabe. Hold on, let me zoom in on Charlie. Charlie deserves a close-up. Mr. DeLoach, are you ready for your close-up? All right, here we go. So after when, I guess when Brennan apologized to the jury, he's like, oh, that was some shenanigans, tomfoolery and ballyhoo. I think we can agree on that. And since he had to publicly apologize and publicly got spanked, let's see what his face looks like when he talks about Jennifer McCabe.
So
let's go back to April 2025. Key witness Jen McCabe takes the stand. She's questioned about her Google search, which is how long to die in the cold. Did you find her testimony credible?
How long to die in the cold.
Stop. He corrects him. Hold on. He's just waiting for his opportunity to correct him. Watch.
How long to die in the cold. But yeah, I mean, even with Whiffen, when he did his whole thing about the Celebrite and everything with the phone, oh, if you bring up something, it's gonna be from there, whatever. But yet and still he didn't say definitively that it couldn't be. And I was like, no one's giving me still solid evidence. And I'm like, if he was like, yeah, this is when it happened, this is what happened, yeah, I would have been like, okay, that's one strike, but this still wasn't a strike because himself, just like so many other experts, couldn't even say that she hit him with the car. So
now, was there anything else?
Oh, I love this man. I love this man. Charlie's all of us. He gets it. He got it. He's like, I was waiting for some evidence and nobody could give me any evidence.
That Jen McCabe said
she hit him with the car. So
now, was there anything else that Jen McCabe said while she was testifying that you found to be curious?
Oh, well, a lot of her.
Give me your top three.
She lied to the agency, FBI.
And how did you find out about that?
That I found out right then because they were saying they wouldn't say FBI, they would say agency, and not slow.
He's like, I'm not slow. I didn't think it was an ice cream truck. I'm not slow. They said agency. Like, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure that one out. We need a Charlie emoji on top. All right. Somebody will work on it. We need a Charlie emoji because Charlie is the emoji for common sense and high level bullshit detector. That is what Charlie stands for. Okay. I'm not slow. They thought they were going to really fool the jury when Judge Cannoni said they were not allowed to mention the FBI. You're not allowed to mention the FBI. You're not allowed to mention the other proceedings, the other proceedings. You can't call it a federal grand jury. You have to call it, another proceeding. And then some people slipped up. Like, I think, remind me, Ryan Nagel, I think, slipped up at one time. And he was like, yeah, when the FBI came to talk to me or something like that. I forget who it was exactly, but you'll remember. I'm not slow. Hold on. Let's go back. He's like, I found out right then. I'm not an idiot.
That I found out right then because they were saying they wouldn't say FBI, they would say agency, and not slow. I understood what other agency would be investigating this case. So I was like, okay, agency. And she automatically said, oh, what was it? Oh, I didn't know who was there or something. And she was and she said her explanation was, I didn't get to brush my teeth. I just woke up and all this other stuff. And I was like,
any of it.
I could use that. Does that work? And when you're talking to the FBI, I was like, okay, I see. But again, then how Jackson kind of
the defense attorney, Alan Jackson,
he led her on the path like she was being able to tell the truth and everything, and then got her again because she started with when you went back into the house and did you talk to anyone? And she was like, no, I only talked to 3 people. And he was like, only 3 people. And then she's like, yes, it was only 3 people. And then she recanted her story again saying, and Jackson was like, but it was 5. And didn't you call didn't you call your husband? And then she also called Proctor or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's another strike. All right. So the case was leaning one way and it kept on leaning one way and up until the very end. So
did the jurors find it curious that nobody inside the house on Fairview came outside while you had a host of police officers attending the body of John O'Keefe?
Not initially. When we was deliberating, yes, we all found like it was very odd that no one went into the house and no one was able to even any pictures of the garage, any pictures of the door of the garage, any of it, we was not privy to looking at, talking about, or anything. So
what you were privy to and what, the observers of the case outside the courtroom weren't, were the actual crime scene and autopsy photos. Can you talk a little bit about the condition of John O'Keefe's body when you saw those photos?
Well, initially I was like, let me hear from the forensic person who worked on his body afterwards. Even she said there was inconclusive evidence that he was hit by a car. And I was like, okay. And then you look at his arm and the 32 abrasions on the arm, but only 9 entries in the sweater. So it's like, what are we doing here? Like, how are you supposed to have 32 pieces of shattered tail light go through nine holes,
right,
and make all those scratches and stuff? So it was like, okay. And then Chloe. So
yeah, let's talk about Chloe the dog for a moment. First of all, this dog or missing dog now rivals Stephen King's Cujo as the most terrifying pet in American history. Karen Read's attorneys argued that the injuries to O'Keefe's arms were consistent with dog bites. A defense witness Dr. Marie Russell said that was the case. Did the jury believe her testimony?
We were still on the fence with the dog. Well, not the dog bites, more or less, because they was going back and forth. Is she a credible witness or whatever? It was like, I don't even have to lean on the dog bites or anything. All the other evidence and everything else is already telling the true story. So, and basically with the dog bites, is like, what happened to the dog? Where's the dog at?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't we someone go and figure out with forensics of the teeth and everything? And none of that was able, because they didn't get rid of it. They rehoused the dog. So,
and that was just basically right after O'Keefe's death, correct?
From what I heard, the daughter took the dog and whatever, and it got rehoused twice. So, and then they changed the dog's name also.
Witness protection for pets, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Dude, you stole that line from me. Witness protection for pets. That's what he said. He didn't even take the dog into consideration, it sounds like. Oh, you met Dr. Russell? Cheryl says she met Dr. Russell. She says, meeting Dr. Russell was a highlight of my time in Dedham.
Now, one witness that you didn't hear from in the second trial was Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor.
Oh.
Now, we all heard him in the first trial recite those horror.
Let's focus on Proctor. And let's remember that this interview was done back in November of 2025, before any of the shenanigans about Proctor's phone extraction have come out. Even though Rosemary Scapicchio's had it since last August, I think it was last August. She's been sitting on that for a long time. She must have been bursting at the seams.
Horrible text messages about her. In the second trial, his sergeant testified, and that got pretty intense. Do you feel that the defense's assertion of police corruption in this case, both from the Canton police and the state police, was accurate and warranted?
Very accurate. At the time, I was open-minded. I was willing to listen to both sides. If she hit him, or if there is corruption, and then the corruption outweighed her hitting him with the car. So it was kind of like any of us going to trial and you had all those evidence and everything else. Yeah, we're going to jail. It's just that simple.
So you think it was police officers?
Right. She could have been any one of us. She could have been any one of us. He's telling us everything. She could have been any one of us. And in fact, that's exactly what he thought. And that's exactly what the jury thought. I remember screaming in the beginning when I started covering this case, Karen Read could be you. Karen Read could be me. Karen Read could be your sister, your daughter, your mother, your wife. And if this can happen to Karen Read, it can't happen to anybody. Karen Read was very, very lucky that she had all of the financial support from supporters and other people that she did. Because without that, she would not have been able to afford the lawyers that she had. And she's still in debt to them. He gets it. I would love to interview Charlie. I don't know how to reach him, but I'm here for it. Manifest it into existence. If anybody knows how to reach Charlie, tell him I'm looking for him. Charlie, call me. My email is in the show notes below. Hear that? Back that up. Do you feel that the defense's assertion of police corruption was warranted? Remember, if the cases, any of these cases, okay, if any of these cases get to a jury, the first case is the wrongful death case that the O'Keefes filed against Karen Read, the Waterfall, and C.F. McCarthy's. That's the wrongful death civil case. The second case is the case of Karen Read versus everybody for violations of her civil rights. The third case, there's a defamation case that has now been filed by Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, and Colin Albert against Karen Read and Aidan Carney for defamation. And the fourth civil case is a case filed by Karen Read against the Massachusetts State Police and the town of Canton. Okay. This is how the jury was thinking during Karen Read's acquittal And all of the same themes are going to come back, but even more so in these civil cases because the rules of evidence are much different and there's much wider latitude about what comes into evidence and what doesn't. Practically everything is allowed in if you can show some sort of relevance. And the fact that the defamation plaintiffs, the Haas plaintiffs, are suing Karen Read for defamation, alleging that all of the things that Karen Read and Aidan Carney are saying about them are false. And Karen Read alleging that her civil rights were violated because of a corrupt police department, and the Haas defendants pointing the finger at her because they never did a thorough investigation because they were just looking at her, trying to pin it on her. And in the O'Keefe versus Reed case, they have to show that John O'Keefe was hit by a car. And they're also claiming in their emotional distress claims that Karen Read perpetuated this false narrative about other people being responsible. All of this stuff is going to come into evidence. I don't think that the juror could be called as a witness. No. But this is how a reasonable person, 12 reasonable people, a jury of her peers, that's what they like to call it, saw the evidence. And this is based on the limited amount of evidence that they were allowed to see about police corruption. Think of how much more has come out since the 1 year to the day, plus 1 day, that Karen Read was acquitted. Think of how much more has come out and how much more will be shown in, if the cases get to trial, in the trials that I just mentioned. So listen to the question and listen to the answer.
Second trial, his sergeant testified, and that got pretty intense. Do you feel that the defense's assertion of police corruption in this case, both from the Canton police and the state police, was accurate and warranted?
Very accurate.
Even at that time, allegations of police corruption were very accurate. And he did not hear Michael Proctor testify. He only heard Jury Buchanan testify on behalf of Michael Proctor. And he said it was very accurate. Let's see what he points to.
At the time, I was open-minded. I was willing to listen to both sides. If she hit him or if there is corruption, and then the corruption outweighed her hitting him with the car. So it was kind of like any of us going to trial and you had all those evidence and everything else. Yeah, we're going to jail. It's just that simple.
So you think it was police officers protecting police officers in this case?
Oh, for sure. All up and down the whole thing. So, and it's kind of sad, but it's true. But you got to think about it. They're protecting their brothers and they're willing to do whatever to protect their brothers.
It gets me to
Bam. They're protecting their brothers and they're willing to do whatever they can to protect their brothers. Not their brother, John O'Keefe. No, not that brother. Not that brother in blue. No, the other brother in blue, Brian Albert. That's what it sounds like to me that he's saying, in my opinion.
To my next point here, I want to talk about your opinion of former Boston police officer Kelly Dever. She's the former Canton police officer.
No, Dever.
Oh, Dever, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you.
She'll jump on you on that one.
That's right. That's right.
That didn't work out so well for Kelly Dever, did it? The jumping on the name pronunciation, because that's one of the things that Charlie remembers and is laughing about. Hilarious. Never Dever. Listen to this again, or watch it if you can. Watch his face. Let's zoom in on his face. I love this man's face.
Sir Kelly Dever. She's the former Canton police officer.
No, Dever.
Oh, Dever, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you.
She'll jump on you on that one.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. She's the former Canton PD officer who recanted her claim that she saw ATF agent Brian Higgins spending a lot of time with Reed's SUV in the Sally Port garage. Talk a little bit about her testimony and what that revealed to you and the rest of the jurors.
Well, we already seen the video of the Sally Port, And then to hear her testimony, it was just like, oh, here we go. It matched perfectly for corruption. Not even corruption, just witness evidence tampering.
So the video, in your opinion, was manipulated?
Well, the video was definitely manipulated, because if you look at the video that they showed us in court, it started at like 5:15 and then it jumped to 5:50.
The video was definitely manipulated. Yep, they were in there for a wildly long time, Dizzy. He has eyes. He has eyes. He can see everything. He saw everything. He's like, the video was definitely manipulated. How do you think these civil cases are going to work out for the Haas defendants, in which they're a plaintiff or plaintiffs? Something to think about. He saw it. It jumped. It was at 5:15 and then it jumped to 5:50. He remembers all of this without ever taking a note. This was a little over 5 months after the verdict. He remembers everything. He's got a photographic memory. I don't know how Norfolk County jury pool compares to Plymouth County jury pool, but that's the county that they're in. The O'Keefe versus Reed case and the defamation case are both in Plymouth County. Karen Read's case against the MSP and the town of Canton is in, I think, Bristol County. Can't be removed to federal court because you can't sue a municipality in federal court. And not very wisely, I might add, the Haas defendants via Jimbo Tuxbury removed the Karen Read versus everyone case on behalf of those defendants into federal court. And fun fact, we thought originally that perhaps they were moving it into federal court because there are no cameras in federal court. But thanks to a eagle-eyed viewer, I have just learned, as of yesterday, June 18th, 2026, that the United States Senate has just advanced bills allowing cameras in federal courtrooms. You know, I say you better want what you wish for. Well, oops. The Senate Judiciary Committee, as of yesterday, unanimously approved a package of legislation lawmakers on both sides of the aisle believe would increase transparency in the federal judiciary and bolster public trust in the justice system. You can thank, let's see, who really pushed this. It's called the Sunshine in the Courtroom Act. And it would give U.S. district and appellate judges authority to permit photography, recording, and broadcasting of court proceedings in federal court on a case-by-case basis. It is being pushed by Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley. And Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar. She says people should have the right to see what's going on when senators are debating the important issues of our time. If we have time, we'll take a look at this this article later that was sent to me by one of the amazing viewers, likely in the chat, who I will name if I find. If I find it, because I got 100,000 emails. Here we go.
And I was like, so where's the rest of the video? And I was like, okay. And they didn't say anything else about it. And we moved on with the trial. And then we hear Dever. And I was like, oh, so now this makes more sense and everything. And now I don't really have to put two and two together. Here it is.
And then Dever gets up on the stand and claims that that was all a false memory.
Yes, a false memory, because she spoke to an agency and they told her that it was a false memory, so you don't have to testify to that. and that she left at 3:45. And she wasn't even there at the time that they was supposedly in the Sally Port. But if you was doing overtime, you know, anyone could fix your timesheet if they really wanted to, but here nor there.
He knows about people faking timesheets. He knows that happens. People clog other people in and out. He's no dummy. It was Alienated Sharpness who sent that article to me. We'll take a look at it in a moment. It has not been ruled on yet. I don't know. Did Turtle Boy's motion come out? Because I don't have that in my inbox. Was it filed with the court? I don't know. He knows about doctoring time cards.
Yeah, but
Now, she eventually transferred to the Boston Police Department, and it was reported that before her testimony, Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox told her, quote, "Do the right thing." What do you think he meant by that?
that could mean one or two things. One, do the right thing for your brothers, or do the right thing and just say what it is, and, you know, and take the heat for whatever happens afterwards, in which she did the right thing for her brothers.
That's what you thought?
I think she thought she was doing the right thing for her brothers, but in the end, she messed up her own self.
Now, she later resigned. And before that, though, Reed's attorney, Alan Jackson, who we've been talking about, petitioned to have her placed on the Brady list. Now, the Brady list is a compilation of law enforcement officers with credibility issues when it comes to testifying in court. Do you think that, and then he later asked that, you know, most of the Boston police officers be put on the Brady list. I mean, how do you think he was overreaching there, or is that a serious problem?
Well, yeah.
Okay, the Brady list is not a real thing. It's not a real thing. It's not a public document. A lot of people send me like this website that's called the Brady list and it has a bunch of names on it. It's not a real thing. Okay, each separate county keeps their own Brady list of officers who, for whatever reason, are not credible and should not be trusted, and they have the obligation to notify defense attorneys and others of their conduct in order to give them less credibility at trial and such. But there is no official like Brady list that you can go look at. So don't get confused here, because I'm sure this reporter knows this, or this journalist, but the way he's asking this question, he's making it seem like the Brady list is like a real thing that people can go look at, but it's really not.
He wasn't reaching. It's the truth, because even when Cox got interviewed later, he denied it, that he even knew about the case. I knew little about the case and everything, but who doesn't know about the case after the second trial? Like, who doesn't know about this case? You know, so it just was also,
it was the biggest case in America. How could you not know about this case?
And so that was another thing. Like you could have just said, "Well, no comment," but you had to say, "I didn't know nothing about the case." You would have cleared all this up with saying no comment, but he wanted no parts of it. So that's what I kind of picked up on. So.
Okay, before we get to both sides resting, look at Madeira Beach caregiver. Thank you for your 50. Says, just want to send out humongous love for the new generation of the 6 degrees of separation. 6 degrees of separation is the social theory that any two people on earth are connected by a chain of no more than 5 intermediaries, right? And didn't they at one time call it like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or something? Because everyone, I don't know why Kevin Bacon was really popular at the time. Thank you very much. I don't know which part of the stream you were referring to, because this is almost an hour old, but thank you very much for your very generous 50. Jaded Masshole says he thought most dishonorable Beverly Prescott Cannoni thought he was inconsequential. This gentleman was all over the physics. Bravo. Bravo. Yeah, he did kind of say that, didn't he? Like she thought I wasn't going to be able to convince people. Christine Mitchell says, Mel, how many not guilty verdicts do the O'Keefe family need? Thank you very much, Christine Mitchell, for tuning in from across the pond. Earth Sister says that Brian Albert wasn't holding his dog back. What was he doing? Will you do Turtle Boy's motion today? I don't know. Is it out? I don't see it in my inbox yet. If it comes out, I can do it later. Thanks, Kim, for your 5. Yellow Lead Bederow says, I know the embalmer of John O'Keefe. What? He said the day Karen Read was arrested for a car accident, he was so confused because he was not hit by a car. He waited for anyone to come talk to him, but nope, no one ever came. What? Well, Kim, I'm sure you've, reached out to whoever to, maybe he'll reach out to whoever to come in as a witness. Thank you very much for your 10. Nancy, thank you for your very generous 100. Thank you. Melanie, do you think the House defendants will look better in orange or stripes? I don't know. It's hard to say, Nancy. It's hard to say. Thank you so much for your 100. But what I find interesting also that Charlie just said about Jennifer McCabe and not believing anything that she had to say was that even after her glow up from trial number 1, where she came in with a completely different attitude, and in trial number 2, she was very calm. She didn't let Alan Jackson get to her. She, was it Alan Jackson who crossed her in trial number 2? I don't recall. But remember, her demeanor was totally different. Totally different. She had highlights. She was tan. She was calm. She didn't seem snarky at all. Even with all of that different prep, different rehearsal, whatever you want to call it, Charlie saw right through it. Saw right through it. All right, let's get to them arresting. Thank you, Nancy, for your very generous 100 and your snark.
So both sides finally rest their case. They give their closing arguments and deliberations begin on June 16th. Take us inside the jury room. Talk about a little bit about the evidence that the panel had to weigh the most with regard to the guilt or innocence of Karen Read.
So when we got in there on Friday, it was Friday afternoon, and it was around like 2:30, and one of the other jurors had to leave at 4, so it wasn't much time to really deliberate. So, and then we have this room full of evidence that's been compiled over so many years, and now we're supposed to figure it out. So I'm like, wow. So we focused on everybody wanted to touch the tail light. We all got to touch the tail light and look at the tail light and see how it was tampered and everything with. And we all
see how it was tampered with. We wanted to see the taillight and see how it was tampered with. We wanted to touch it. And he knows that by touching that taillight, his DNA would have been on that taillight. And he also knew, I think, let's see if he says it, that John O'Keefe's DNA was not on that taillight at all. We wanted to touch the taillight and see how it was tampered with and everything. Wait a second, what? It's kind of like they were kind of overwhelmed with all this evidence, but that is the thing that everybody wanted to focus on first, was the taillight. That is very interesting to me. Because that, according to all of the simps on Twitter and other places on the internet, Reddit and wherever, that is the one thing that they always point to as being like the most damning piece of evidence against Karen Read is that taillight, right? Let's hear that again. So everybody wanted to focus on the taillight.
Wow. So we focused on everybody wanted to touch the tail light. We all got to touch the tail light and look at the tail light and see how it was tampered and everything with. And we all came to the conclusion was like, yeah, this is way different than the tail light we seen on the ARCA report. And their speed was 27 miles an hour. And hers supposedly speed was 24 miles an hour. And it was like, why is there way more damage to this one than the 27 miles per hour one? And we was just like, and the first day we did not take a vote, but on Monday we took a vote. And
did any of the jurors think that it was plausible that Karen Read did hit John O'Keefe with a car?
There was several ones that wanted to dive more deeply into the evidence to answer their questions. And there was like 3 of them that there was particles on the clothing, and how did that particle on the clothing get there versus from the taillight and everything. And I was like, if you really look at it, and if you think about it, everything was in process for 6 months. How do you have a police officer's clothes that just was murdered and you don't process it right away. You took 6 months to process his clothes. When we looked at the paper bag, it said June 11th or something or June 12th. I'm like,
wow, 6 months. He's saying 6 months. We thought it was weeks, but he's saying that the jury looked at the bag and they were like, it took them 6 months to process a murdered police officer's clothes. We can't have that. How can we trust any particles of taillight being in this man's clothes? It's wicked smart.
6 months later, I was like, right there, if you already have mysteriously 42 pieces of taillight, and now you don't think someone could break up a couple of little pieces and sprinkle it on clothing to make sure it corroborates with the evidence that's going on with it, whatever. And after some time, that juror was like, you're right. So then the next piece was.
So one juror was stuck on the taillight and he explained it like that, like a shake and bake bag of evidence, as some of you say. Everyone leave your DNA on the like button. I promise you that Canton PD won't get a hold of it, or the MSP. And even if they did, they wouldn't process it properly. So you're good. You're all good.
The next juror that was upset was the one with, she wanted to know when was the first piece found. And I was like, oh, okay. So we went through video footage and we tried to go into evidence, but the first piece wasn't found until 5:50. So she was like, oh, it's not found until 5:50. And she's like, well, when was the car in the Sally Port? The car was in the Sally Port at 5:39. But
His attention to detail is impeccable. He says the car was in the Sally Port at 5:39, but
in the Sally Port at 5:39. But I think it was in there earlier than that. But it was at 5:30.
he thinks they lied about that too. He thinks that video was altered too. He doesn't miss a thing. And he took no notes, and everyone was so worried because he took no notes. And it only took 3 minutes to get from the police station to 34 Fairview. He did the math. He was explaining it to the jurors who might have been a little bit confused and they didn't understand. And they came back with an acquittal. He missed nothing.
But I think it was in there earlier than that. But it was at 5:39, and it only took 3 minutes to get from the police station to Fairview. So that's more than enough time to plant a piece of evidence.
So June 18th, 2025, it's the fourth day of deliberations. You finally reach your verdict. What was the mood inside the jury room and the courtroom when that verdict was announced?
Oh, it was heavy because at one thing I didn't want to like give this exciting not guilty, and then to see moms and brother and the dad over there, and
so you were thinking about the victims too.
And I was like, I'm not just gonna. I know this is a definitely a celebration for Karen, but at the same time, this is heartbreaking for a mother. Now I don't even have a person to blame for all this misfortune in my life. But it was just like, so I went there and I was trying to be monotone when I gave out the verdict of not guilty. But even when that happened, I mean, it was intense because before I got to the last not guilty, the crowd erupted. It was already cheering like it was a basketball stadium outside and everything. And I was like, oh, and we was asked a couple of more questions, and so say you, and then he asked us we went to the, back to where we deliberated, and there was several people crying. And
wow, a lot of the jurors were crying. I love his compassion too, Carol. Self-awareness Charlie has is wonderful, says Ann Merritt. We need jurors like him. Wendy Taylor says that's why Beverly picked him for the foreman, because he didn't take notes. I think maybe she thought he wasn't paying attention, in my opinion. He said outright, I think she picked me because she thought I wouldn't be able to convince anybody of anything. That's kind of what he said, right? He makes me want to cry. That's right. And today, Linda Mitchell points out, is June 19th when slaves found out they were really free. This interview that I'm playing for you today is not from today. This interview is from November of 2025. But just to point out to those of you, because I saw some people in the chat that might not be from the US, or some people who just don't even know what Juneteenth is. Juneteenth is a federal holiday in the United States of America. It is a combination of the words June and 19th. It commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans, specifically marking the day in 1865 when Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, to announce that the Civil War had ended and all enslaved people were free. Today's Juneteenth. It is a day of celebration. Some of the jurors were crying. Let's get back to Charlie.
There was just a kind of overwhelming feel in the room. So
a few days after that verdict, Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan said flat out that you got the verdict wrong, saying that your decision threatened the integrity of our judicial system. What would you say to Hank Brennan if he were in this audience today?
Oh.
No, we didn't get it wrong. You just didn't have the right evidence, and you didn't have the right witnesses that could convict her. And that's really what it was. And the integrity, it's already been tainted a long time ago with all the police officers and all the text messages and everything else. That's what shreds the integrity. So
this case is far from over. And
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Life on Makeup. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. This is what we're trying to do over here at this channel, okay? We all deserve freedoms. We all deserve to be protected by the Constitution of the United States of America. The First Amendment is a real thing. Malicious persecutions happen. You deserve the right to be investigated by an unbiased and non-corrupt police department. And we're here to uncover it all and to fight for the people who have no voice. That's why I don't cover every trial that everyone else is covering just because it's popular, because I just some of them I just don't care. I just don't care. Okay, there are real people out there who really need help. Edrick Faust is one of them. I'm trying to plan something behind the scenes to help Edrick Faust get the money to hire Brian Steele as his appellate attorney, because what happened to Edrick Faust, in my opinion, was a modern day lynching. So keep trolling me out there on Reddit and Twitter, whatever. Keep bashing me for, another false narrative in the Edrick Faust case. But if you think that there was evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that Edrick Faust murdered Tara Baker, I don't know what to say to you, except for you don't have the common sense that Charlie DeLoach has. That's for sure. I'd love to hear what the jury has to say on that case. More than 30-year-old cold case based on all of a sudden appearing DNA that just appeared out of nowhere. Edrick Faust is we're coming. We're coming. I can go on and on about that, but I'm not going to do it right now. But if you want to keep trashing me out there on social media because you think I'm wrong, go right ahead. Go right ahead. You're not hurting my feelings. And you're not going to shut me up. And I do feel terribly, terribly sorry for the family of Tara Baker that they had to go through this. But here's one thing that you need to understand. When the Coleman-Baker Act was enacted and $5 million was allocated by the Georgia whatever toward the closure of cold cases, one of the requirements for reopening a cold case under the Coleman-Baker Act was that there had to be no viable suspects, okay? So if the maintenance man or if one of the other men that had been considered as suspects for many years, including Chris Melton. There was some lawyer that Tara was dating at the time. There was a couple of different suspects throughout the years for Tara Baker's 2001 murder. She was a law student at University of Georgia. She was gorgeous. She was beautiful. She believed in justice of all things. Tara Baker was a firm believer in justice. None of the suspects since 2001 were ever Black. There was no Black DNA found anywhere in that crime scene. There was no evidence that Edrick Faust was ever in that home. And if nothing else, you need to believe in the procedure, in the process, in the burden. And I think, personally, I think the jury should have known that in order to have this reopened under the Coleman-Baker Act, there could be no viable suspects. And so Chris Melton could not be in the mix. They had to make sure that Chris Melton was not a viable suspect, and they had to find someone else to pin it on. Enter Edrick Faust. Okay? There's so many things wrong with that case that I can't even wrap my brain around it. But we're here on Juneteenth, and we're going to talk about it, because if you didn't watch the trial, please watch the trial. I have a playlist. It was only a couple of days. It wasn't a very long trial. And it was one of the worst miscarriages of justice that I've ever seen or heard about in my over 30-year career as an attorney. Right. They had senators in the courtroom. Sherilyn says, I think the jury was scared and Faust got railroaded. And it's horrifying. And there's some loud people out there, like the podcaster who did the whole podcast about the Baker family, got really close to the family, and good for him. Good for him and his journalism. But Edrick Faust, I don't think, is the right guy. And justice for Tara Baker does not mean incarcerating a man whose alleged DNA was allegedly found in Tara Baker's mouth some 30-something years later. Come on, man. Come on. All right, I'll stop ranting now. Let's talk about this guy, Casey Sherman, interviewing Charlie DeLoach, who says this case is far from over. And he said this all the way back in November.
That's what shreds the integrity. So
this case is far from over, and its ripple effects continue to spread. First, disgraced trooper Michael Proctor tried to get his job back, then gave up his fight after thousands of disturbing texts were found on his cell phone relating to other cases. Now as many as 20 other prosecutions are in jeopardy, including the murder of Anna Walsh in Cohasset, allegedly at the hands of her own husband. How do you think Proctor's behavior in those cases will impact future juries?
Well, because it shows a lot of implicative bias on his side, and just I didn't read any of those text messages, but
if they're similar to the ones that you heard in the Karen Read trial,
it's not too good for him. So
and it's not too good for the prosecutions
no.
in those other cases as well.
So anything he touched is right now tainted. It's all going to be questioned.
Karen Read, as we all know, still faces a civil trial in the murder of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. The bar regarding responsibility is set much lower in a civil trial. We saw that in the 1990s with the O.J. Simpson trial. Simpson was found not guilty in a criminal court, but was later found responsible for the murders of his wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman. How do you think the Karen Read civil trial will fare?
I hope it doesn't fare the same way. Because if she didn't hit him and she didn't kill your son, why are you going after her? She'd be going after whoever really killed your son.
And they didn't sue anybody else except for Karen Read and the Waterfall and C.F. McCarthy's. And I've been saying this for a long time. You should have sued everybody. Time is up. Statute of limitations is over. You can't sue anyone in the house if it comes out that they had something to do with it. I'm just looking at people. Thank you, Melanie, for bringing this up. She says, Peter, lawyer, thinks that Faust got railroaded. Isn't today Faust Friday? Does he have it? Is he going to go live today with with Faust Friday? Hasn't he been doing that every Friday? Did it already happen? Because I'm looking at his live streams. Hold on, and he's not. I don't see it. His last one was last Friday. Is there some reason he's not doing it today? Because I would like to teleport you over there. If he is, I thought that's maybe why we had a smaller crowd today. Yes, Quinn. The niece might still be able to sue when she's 18 because, I don't want to speak for Massachusetts, but in New York, there's a tolling provision. So the statute doesn't begin to run or doesn't run until you turn 18. So she'd have 3 years from the time she turns 18. And so there's that. He finished the series? It's over? I thought he said last week, this might be the last episode. This might, because I was watching it too. He said, this might be the last episode. This might not be the last episode. All right, I'm getting too distracted. Let me play out the rest of this video and then we'll talk about that. Hold, please.
So isn't that what you've been stressing since the end of the trial, that there is a killer still out there that needs to be prosecuted?
Yes. And it just doesn't seem like anyone's caring about what happened in that house. No one is. So that case is still open because there wasn't a conviction. Yes.
But do you think it's active?
Do I think that someone's still looking into the case?
Right.
Probably not really until they have to, and until they're up under that microscope where they have to get results. But if no one is really trying to get results, but what Jackson did in the civil trial is he countersued all of them.
All of them.
So
put them on the defensive.
Exactly. So now they have to try to prove their innocence.
So going back to your personal experience, did the Karen Read trial leave you with a positive or a negative feeling about our judicial system?
You already know the answer. It's very negative. I'm not, I mean,
we've got some young criminal justice students here in this crowd. What would you tell them? Give up or keep fighting?
Well, it takes one to make a change. So I say keep fighting regardless of the fact, because I could have easily swayed with the prosecution and just listen to what they had to say and what was ever in front of me and go against the grain. Don't care. Just,
follow the evidence.
Yeah. All the evidence.
Stand up for what you believe is the evidence. Stand up for it. Don't cave.
Look at it, make sure it's right, but it's a messed up, corrupted system that's been way before I was born, or way before any of us was born, that's been implanted into the system. So
now you've got an incredible story to tell, and you've shared a little bit about that with us today. I understand that you're working on a book. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that process and where you are?
Right now we're in the early stages of the book, or just trying to shop it around and everything. But it's
call me. Let's promote your book, Charlie. Charlie, call me.
Basically detailing my life.
So it's going to be part memoir and part Karen Read trial.
Karen Read trial, yes.
Well, you know what? Let's give another round of applause for Mr. Charlie DeLoach.
I can't wait for that book. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Fisher College. And thank you to Casey Sherman. Oh, they're going to take questions now? What? Wait. He said he was on vacation today, says J.R. Walker. This interview was done in November of 2025, as it says, scrolling along the bottom here. Let's see what questions they ask. Oh, now I'm really intrigued. Peter did not finish. Somebody said he's on vacation. Somebody said he's doing something at 8 p.m. tonight. I can't find it on his shank. He's not finished. I wish if people, before they hit send on something in the chat, they would make sure that it's 100% actually true. I don't think so.
We have time for a few questions. So if anybody in the audience wants to raise their hand. George Regan, yes.
Obviously, throughout the
passed away. Mother, family, were upset. So who we took to
George Regan just asked the number one question here. This is like a Knives Out scenario. Who is the killer, in your opinion? You may not want to say that.
Well,
Brian Higgins?
it could be Brian Higgins, could be the son. It could have been even an accident, but they overplayed the scenario and the situation. It could be multiple things, but.
Do you think if she was...
Said it could be the son. Did Turtle Boy brainwash you?
Charged with manslaughter, not second-degree murder, would it have been more likely that she would have been found guilty?
Yes. Yeah. Because then she would have not felt like it was she could overcome that.
And some of the jurors might have been more swayed toward that.
Because it was a lesser of a charge than murder and stuff. So
she was convicted. One of the charges was operating under the influence. And I know you.
Just because I like to always be right. Peter's episode of Closing Arguments in the Faust trial is going to start tonight at 8 p.m. I just set my notification. Maybe I can teleport you there afterwards if he has it set up that way so that I can, because I want everyone to know about this. I want everyone to see it. I want everyone to know about it. I want to go back to here. And I just want to hear that question again because I was focusing on finding that video.
But.
Do you think if she was charged with manslaughter, not second-degree murder, would it have been more likely that she would have been found guilty?
Yes. Yeah. Because then she would have not felt like it was she could overcome that.
And some of the jurors might have been more swayed toward that.
Because it was a lesser of a charge than murder and stuff. So
she was. Except that answer doesn't make any sense, because if he didn't get hit by a car, she wouldn't have been convicted no matter what, if it was manslaughter or murder. Maybe he didn't understand the question, but he seems like a really smart guy, so I don't know.
Was convicted. One of the charges was operating under the influence, and I know you had a role in deciding that. Talk a little bit about that.
So day 4 of deliberations, we went in there, and we already took a tally of does anyone feel like that she actually hit him with the car? No. We even had like poster boards around the deliberating room where it was what was it? Reasonable doubt, manslaughter, and all these charges and everything. And we even what an OUI is. And
so the manslaughter charge was in there anyway. And he said nobody thought she got hit by a car. Is he saying that they would have maybe been successful if they only charged her with manslaughter, because maybe she just would have like avoided the whole hassle and worked out a plea deal for herself, but instead they charged her with murder. And so she fought harder and exposed all of this stuff. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't know. But if he comes on my show, I'll ask him the question again.
Had 4 jurors, 2 wanted to convict her of the OUI, and 2 was relentless of not charging with any of it. I also didn't want to charge her anything. And we didn't find her.
Oh, so there were 2 jurors plus Charlie, 3 jurors who didn't want to find her guilty of anything, including the OUI. And that was, he said that was day 4. Maybe that's why it took so long. Because he was trying to convince them to not convict her of anything because there was no evidence that she was drunk at the time, because he knows that extrapolation evidence was BS. Interesting. Yeah, again.
We had 4 jurors, 2 wanted to convict her of the OUI, and 2 was relentless of not charging with any of it. I also didn't want to charge her anything. If we didn't find her guilty of hitting him, I didn't want to charge her with nothing. But I knew, and also the other two jurors knew, that the other two was going to hang the jury if she didn't get charged with OUI. So I was willing to sway and say, at least it's a lesser charge, and a year of whatever, of probation or whatever, is a slap on the wrist. But the other gentleman, he looked at 2 years in jail if she was convicted of even OUI or whatever, and being her first offense or whatever. And when that happened, he was the one. We actually had a verdict, and we was like, oh, it was probably around like 11:55. We had the verdict in, and they said the pizza's here. So we was like, oh, we're gonna eat first before we give them the verdict. So we was gonna eat. We was eating. The verdict, I signed both of them. I signed all three of them. It was under my pizza, and I looked over at one of the jurors, good friend of mine's now, and I looked at him and...
Oh, they're good friends now. I love that for the jury. I love that for the jury, that they're good friends now.
He looked distraught, and he still was like weighing on, like, and he gave me that, I looked over and he gave a sigh, and I said, what's up? You okay? And then he looked at me, he said, could I take back my vote? So at that time, I heard a lot of sucking of teeth and a lot of sighs in the room, like, what's going on here? And I know a lot of eyes was on me, like, tell him no, tell him no, tell him no. And I was like, wait, let me talk to the bailiff. And I talked to the bailiff. The bailiff's like, no, fine. No, it's okay. Take your time.
He wanted to take back his vote. Was he one of the guys who said that he didn't want to even convict of the OUI? Yeah, the younger juror, right, on that other podcast said the pizza was horrible. He said the pizza was horrible.
And if you come back with, and take your time with your decision, I'm going to go talk to the judge and everything. He went to go back, talk to the judge, and he said, so your verdict, the first verdict that you had, put it in an envelope, we're going to seal it, and we're going to give it to the judge. No one's going to look at it or whatever. But within 20 minutes after him overlooking some evidence and stuff, he went with guilty also for OUI. So
it isn't a negotiation when you're in that room, especially when you have several different charges that you have to weigh against each other.
Yes.
Any other questions? President Rich, he gets first priority.
Thank you. One of the things I read was that they filled in the swimming pool. Was that ever presented as evidence in the house?
No, none of that. Not even the house, not even the doors, nothing. Nothing was, anything dealing with the house was off limits. We didn't get to see in the house. We didn't get to see in the garage.
Even in your jury view, they didn't take.
We didn't even get the view of outside the house.
Okay.
They didn't even want us to look at the house. Only thing we was privy to was the hydrant, the flagpole, and the front lawn, and the berm. That's it.
Okay. Any other questions, folks? Yes.
How did the judge and attorneys help ensure that the jurors remain impartial and unbiased despite extensive media coverage?
Well, we was
It said the question was, how did the attorneys ensure that the jurors remained unbiased by not watching any media coverage?
transported, and well, we was transported, and we went in we all met at a certain area. I can't say where because they still probably use it. But we met a certain area where state troopers and a big charter bus was there. I got dropped off every morning and we was shuttled to the courthouse afterwards.
So you weren't sequestered for the trial?
No.
Well, we knew that. I don't think he meant
One
we
more
couldn't
question?
look at the house. I think they meant they couldn't go inside the house. I think he meant we couldn't go inside the house. I want to hear that again. The only thing we were privy to, I think he meant we couldn't go inside the house. We didn't get to see in the garage, he said. We didn't get to see in the house. The view of outside the house. The only thing that we were privy to was the hydrant, the flagpole, and the front lawn and the berm. That's it, right? That's what I think, Corey, that he meant. Scrolling back and looking at the closed captions.
A certain area where state troopers and a big charter bus was there. I got dropped off every morning and we was shuttled to the courthouse afterwards.
So you weren't sequestered for the trial?
No.
Okay. One more question?
If the dog Chloe, if they just took the DNA of the dog, wouldn't they have known if the dog would have been part of the...
So the question is, if either side had taken the DNA, or the investigators rather, had taken the DNA of the dog named Chloe, wouldn't they be able to match that with potentially the blood of John O'Keefe?
Well, they did test the so-called bite marks on the sweater and they found pork on it.
Look at his face. The so-called bite marks on the sweater. The eye rolls are everything. Everything. I already made an emoji. I just have to download it and populate it for Charlie. Hold on. Here we go.
Able to match that with potentially the blood of John O'Keefe.
Well, they did test the so-called bite marks on the sweater and they found pork on it. So, but it could have been pork rind, which a dog bite, which a dog treat or whatever. But here nor there,
it's like,
they didn't really even go into that too much either, because anything dealing with the dog or the house or anything Albert, we really didn't go over in the case.
So you felt like you had your arms tied behind your back in much of this trial?
Especially with the house, yes.
Okay.
Especially with the house, meaning the cops never went inside the house. It wasn't the guy that never went in the house. It was the cops that never went in the house. And also, remind me, chat, the tissue samples of John O'Keefe's arm, number one, I don't even know if they were ever taken. But number two, where did they go? Where did the tissue samples of John O'Keefe's arm go? That would have been the best evidence, right? To find out whether there was dog DNA on John O'Keefe's arm, was to take the actual tissue samples of John O'Keefe's arm and test that for dog DNA or dog saliva, which would have, obviously, if John O'Keefe was bit by a dog, there would have been dog DNA on his arm from the saliva of the dog that bit right through that sweatshirt. You mean to tell me that a taillight exploded and all at the very same time punctured all of those holes, mind you, just little tiny puncture holes, almost like a tooth puncture, into big, long scratches on his arm, all at the same time, miraculously. Left no DNA on those taillight pieces at all. And the tissue samples were never taken or were lost. Yeah, I know that they swabbed the hoodie or shirt, allegedly. There's a lot of questions about that, too. But wouldn't that have been the best evidence? Crazy. I know, it's so crazy how some of us at home are better detectives than the actual detectives who worked on the case.
Any other questions? Yep.
You mentioned at the beginning, you said you hoped you weren't selected to be jury. Has being selected left any impact on your life and being part of this case?
Well, first, my wife signed me up. She literally signed the paper and everything. And I was trying to dodge, I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to dodge jury duty once again. Suffolk County, they never got me. Norfolk County got me. But, and I mean, it hasn't really impacted my life at all in large part.
He's not afraid of trolls. He's not afraid of the same trolls that Colin is afraid of. I mean, his attorney said he was afraid. I'm not saying Colin's afraid. Colin's attorney said in open court that he's afraid. He didn't want to tell anybody that he was going into the army because they would come for him. So he had to say it was a work emergency. He had to go away for work. Then there's people pointing out that the army is work. So he wasn't lying. Okay. The army is work. I get that. But he made it sound like he wasn't enlisting to serve our country, which would be something that somebody might be very proud of, right? I would like to think that whoever these trolls are not going to be able to get to Colin while he's in boot camp. I don't know.
I mean, I was out once at a Rebs game, and a guy came up to me like a week after the trial, and he was like, "Dude, this you?" And at first I was like, "Wait a minute, this could be good or bad right now." So I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "All right," you know what I'm saying? He's like, "I'm not gonna blow up your spot. I'm not gonna blow up your spot, but great job, great job." So that's the closest I got so far.
So you haven't had any threats or comments
no comments on the websites and everything. It was all good, much love and everything. I never got.
I don't want to point this out to him because I don't think he's watching here anyway. But didn't somebody call him an Uncle Tom? Didn't one of those Twitter trolls call him Uncle Tom, or was that somebody else that she called Uncle Tom? Tell me. Peter's show tonight is at 8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Eastern. If it's 7 p.m. for you, then you're in a different time zone. Kate Peter, did she call this man Charlie DeLoach and Uncle Tom, or was she referring to someone else? Because I don't know if her racism is showing with other people too, or she was just talking about Charlie. I guess he didn't see that.
No backlash or anything.
All right, George, one more.
If John O'Keefe's mother was sitting in this room, what would their message be to Mrs. O'Keefe?
What would Charlie's message be to John O'Keefe's mother?
Keep fighting, but it's hard because the evidence that you have compiled for your son has already been tainted by just shoddy police work. So it just sucks. And I feel for you because you may never get an answer.
So she should be blaming, in a sense, some of the investigators that didn't do their jobs?
Who didn't do their jobs, or who thought they could cover it up and put it on somebody else.
All right. Yeah, one more, Steve?
I know you said earlier that you've lost some confidence in the justice system. Now that you were on a jury and the trial went, obviously not where you felt it should have gone, right? Not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Did at least the trial establish some confidence back?
Well, established for myself in a certain way because I felt, sorry.
I didn't hear the question.
I felt that if I didn't kind of press forth and try to look past all the veil of whatever the prosecution was trying to put in front of us so we get an innocent person convicted. I don't know. It's sad in a certain way because there's a lot of us that's gonna fall victim to this.
But for anybody in the audience, Charlie, that might be chosen for a jury, especially a murder trial, what advice would you give to them?
No matter what, innocent until proven guilty, and start with that.
Yes.
Beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes.
So the threshold is higher for the prosecution than it is for the defense in every case.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Charlie DeLoach, everybody.
Oh, Charlie, praise be. Thank you for this was such a good way to spend the 1-year anniversary of Karen Read's acquittal by watching that interview from November of 2025. Thank you, Fisher College, for doing that. Thanks, Casey Sherman, for knowing the case and for asking the right questions. And that was such a good way, in my opinion, to celebrate the 1-year acquittal by listening to what the foreman of the acquittal jury had to say. Gives us faith, doesn't it, again, in the jury system a little bit? Back to some of your comments that I started from earlier. 18 Cloud says, hi, Melanie. At a conference last year, I met a recently retired 30-year Boston PD investigator. She said there's no way they wouldn't go in the house. The dog disappeared, etc. They know. Thanks, 18 Clouds. Kendra says, Liz herself said that she had to solve this case. Oh, we're talking about Faust now. Yeah. Liz Bigham. It wasn't that she had to get justice for Tara or that she wanted a violent person off the streets. She had to solve this case. That's right. When she got first assigned in the cold case unit, that was her first assignment. MVP says, who takes the effing laptop? Not a total stranger. Why not the money or other things? Right. Again, back to the Tara Baker murder. The laptop was missing. It never appeared. And everyone who saw Black Man walking that morning didn't see him carrying anything. So where's the laptop? I think in another interview, I don't know if it came out at trial, but I think in another investigative piece, I saw that there were also some files missing from the case. I mean, files missing from her house, not just her laptop, but some actual like physical files, like all the way back then, you know, there were physical files from law firms that people would take home to work on. I don't know if that's what they were for, but they were also missing, never recovered, right? Forever Exennial, we're pointing out Peter Tragos' Faust Friday is tonight at 8 p.m. And also, let's go over here for a minute. Our girl Emily C. is hosting a campaign fundraiser for Adam Deitch, hosted by Mizzy and Emily C. That is tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern over on the Emily C. channel. Thanks, Annie, for tagging me in an Insta story. I appreciate you. Usually I repost if people tag me, so I will take a look at that later. Some days I never even get a chance to look at Instagram. I know it's crazy. Some people are so involved in their social media, and I'm just not. I should go on there more, but I don't. But I will now that you told me, because I know it disappears in 24 hours. Amelia says, don't forget, Charlie said before that if he was the one who owned the house where O'Keefe or anyone else was found dead in the front yard, the police would have absolutely gone into his house and investigated. Right? He did say that. He did say that. Courtroom Cupcake Sherilyn says, Faust still needs donations, not even close to his goal for appeal. He still needs us, just saying. And I'm done for today. Sorry, Mela. Not trying to divert your attention. We know. We know. We're still going to be working on it. Don't worry. Night Snacks Review says, Melanie, do you think you can hop on with Lawyer when he goes live? It would be cool to see all conversation about it. I would love to, but that's not the way it works. He has to invite me. He has to invite me. So if he wants to invite me, I've been on his show before. He knows where to find me. And I would be happy to. But that, the ball's in his court on that one. Thank you, Sweet Pea. Charlie said, I told you the end was scary. Nebraska Jeff says, wait, isn't Karen Read's probation over with today? Yes, it is. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, it is. Wasn't that a year's probation? Yes. Is she finally down with that part? Yes, it's over. It's over. It's over now. Miss Conduct said, I'd love to know his thoughts now that Proctor's texts have been publicized. Right. All of those incredibly bigoted and racist text messages about, well, the ones that Rosemary Scapiccio published were all about Black people. That would be so interesting. Lori says, I hope I never get this answer, but I'm wondering if some of the families told them just convict her on some of their families. I mean, the jurors' families told them just convict her on DUI or it's going to be a mistrial. I don't think that any of the jurors spoke to their families about it. They're not allowed to, and they seem to have followed the rules very, very carefully. And so I do not think in any way that would have been the case. And Charlie says the MS charge, the manslaughter charge, should scare everybody. Thanks, Charlie, for your super chat and for tuning in from Australia. They love ASAA. Thank you for becoming a member. Aunt BB, hi, Aunt BB. How about, Aunt BB says, how about testing the 5 unidentified DNA markers on John O'Keefe's genes against those at the house? Oh, that's right. Cannoni denied that motion too. Maybe they can do it for the civil trial. Wouldn't that be amazing? Because, according to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, cold case unit, the DNA advancements in technology have you can find DNA that didn't exist all the way back in 2001. We should absolutely be able to test for the 5 unknown DNA markers. Some of them might have been, degraded to the point where they could not be identified, but maybe, just maybe, somebody might care enough or be able to test the genes. That's a great point, BB. That's a great point. I know that was sarcasm. That was sarcasm. Free Faust says the DNA advancements were around for years. That was my sarcasm. And there's that. Oh, I know. It is. Let's see. It's 3:09 here on the East Coast. Oh, I was going to show you the article about the potentially cameras in federal courts. Of course, it's going to always be up to the judge, as people are pointing out. But let's take a look at this article. It's the Courthouse News Service. And this is from yesterday, June 18th, 2026. Courthouse News Service, through the lens of justice. Senate advances bills allowing cameras in federal courtrooms. It's getting there. It hasn't been passed yet, so don't get too excited. Rubber duckies might be too much. It's 36 pages. And so I don't know if I've got the bandwidth. We've been here already for 3 hours. It might be a separate show. I know I keep promising things, but I don't like to write a check that I can't cash. You know what I'm saying? In an increasingly rare moment of bipartisanship, Senate lawmakers on Thursday, that was yesterday, unanimously passed legislation that would permit television crews to record proceedings in federal courts and the Supreme Court. It's the latest attempt in Congress at relaxing the judiciary's strict videography rules, which have long prohibited attendees and the media from recording court in session. But both Republicans and Democrats have for years argued that allowing cameras in federal courtrooms would be a salve for public confidence in the federal judiciary. Speaking during a Senate Judiciary Committee meeting Thursday morning, Chairman and Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley said that the proposed Sunshine in the Courtroom Act would grant people with an interest in federal court cases an avenue to view them remotely, addressing what he called a long-standing need in the judiciary. Denial of access shouldn't be the default, said Grassley, who sponsored the proposed measure and its Supreme Court counterpart. If made law, the Sunshine in the Courtroom Act would give the U.S. district and appellate judges authority to permit photography, recording, and broadcasting of court proceedings on a case-by-case basis. At the appellate level, the bill allows judges to block video and photography in cases where they determine it would violate due process rights of the parties involved. U.S. district court judges would be allowed to make similar decisions. Witnesses in federal district court cases would also have the right to obscure their faces or voices on broadcast. The proposed measure would further ban media coverage of jurors. Well, that's the same as it is in state court. You can never put the jurors on camera. Regulations for permitting photo and video recording of court proceedings would be set by the U.S. Judicial Conference. The second proposed bill, known as the Cameras in the Courtroom Act, would direct the Supreme Court to allow television cameras in sessions already open to journalists and members of the public. The legislation also permits the justices to block recording of certain open sessions to protect due process rights. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle held up the package of bills as a step forward for judicial transparency. People should have the right to see what's going on when senators are debating the important issues of our time. said Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar. The same is true, particularly of the Supreme Court. Klobuchar compared the push for courtroom cameras to the advent of C-SPAN, arguing that people were scared by public access broadcasting of congressional proceedings. They thought it would look bad on TV, she said. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but now it's a fixture. The Minnesota Democrat argued that while the Supreme Court currently provides audio broadcasts of oral arguments, listening to the justices isn't the same as seeing their deliberations on video. It's really not. We listen to some audio only hearings and trials that is not the same as having video with it. Many of us have attended these hearings. It's an extraordinary experience, and you shouldn't have to come to Washington to be able to do that, Klobuchar said. Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, I agree. I mean, cameras should be in the U.S. Supreme Court, like even before they agree to put them in federal courts for trials. I think that's even more obvious because we saw the Mississippi Supreme Court arguments on Carly Gregg. We saw the Arkansas Supreme Court arguments by Aaron Spencer's attorney. Oh, that's something that we could do. That's not very long. Aaron Spencer did an interview with his attorney. Did you guys see that? It has hardly any views. Okay, I think we'll do that. Because again, today is about justice, and they did dismiss the charges on Aaron Spencer. And so I'm going to play that interview for you. Hold on. See how this is like, this is always like, it's like in the ocean here. It's like the ocean. We're constantly moving. We're like Mercury. We never stop moving. We do things on the fly here. That's what we do. Today's about justice, and that is a great thing for us to watch. Gabe Roth, the director of reform-minded judicial advocacy group Fix the Court, touted the Sunshine in the Courtroom Act as a method to give federal judges the discretion to broadcast proceedings rather than the judiciary's national policymaking body. There are about 2,400 federal judges across the country doing their jobs and doing them well for the most part every day. And I trust them to make the right call on broadcast access to their courtrooms more than an out-of-touch policymaking body based in D.C. like the Judicial Conference, he told Courthouse News in an interview. Roth added that the cameras in the Courtroom Act would give Americans the opportunity to view the deliberations of the higher court's 9 justices, which he believes is one of the most impressive things our government officials do. It is Freedom Day. Yeah, it's Freedom Day. It's Juneteenth. It's everything. We may not like the outcomes, and I, for one, largely do not, but I appreciate that there's a model for how to disagree agreeably, which is something every American should have the opportunity to watch, not just in person, but also wherever they're getting their news these days, he said. Lawmakers for years have tried to pass legislation paving the way for cameras in the courtroom. So far, none of those efforts have succeeded. But in recent months, major court cases across the country have renewed interest in changing the law to give members of the public remote access to judicial proceedings. Following the September assassination of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, his wife Erica advocated for cameras to be allowed into proceedings for his suspected killer's case. There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered, Kirk said. At the time, we deserve to have cameras in there. Grassley referenced the Kirk case Thursday as he advocated for the legislation. My bill would provide the same transparency that Erica Kirk sees, but at the federal level, he said, in this case, it's common sense. It's long overdue. The Judiciary Committee ultimately passed both bills on unanimous voice votes, sending them on to final consideration by the full Senate. That's the kind of thing you could capture on video in court cases, Klobuchar quipped. So it hasn't passed yet, but we'll see what happens. Let me find that interview for you, and then we will go there next. I was shocked to see this interview was published 5 days ago, and it only has 1,000 views. All right, let's go back to the chat for a minute before we move on. We're going to celebrate some other freedoms today, and we're going to listen to Aaron Spencer speak out about what happened to him and his attorney, Fireball Erin Casanelli. I remember watching her argue in front of the Arkansas Supreme Court. She's everything. Emily C says, thank you for sharing our info about the fundraiser tonight, 7 p.m. over on Emily C's channel, fundraising for Adam Deitch with Mizzy, who's a huge supporter of Sandra Birchmore. and her Sandra Birchmore's case. Thank you for sharing info about the fundraiser tonight. You are truly one of one, and we are lucky to have you. Oh, Emily, I love you so much. Jeannie Karen Read for Government Mass says, fabulous celebration today, Melanie. Charlie's an all-American hero, all-time American hero. Oh, happy day. That's another song. I love Oh, Happy Day. Love from Ireland. Sláinte, my friend. Love to Ireland. We're not done yet. Wait, there's more. Neil from South Africa says, question, when entering the U.S. Army, did they not take DNA? I don't know. Do they? And can they not test if Colin Albert's DNA shows up as one of the two unidentified males' DNA found on John O'Keefe? I don't know the answer to that question, but if anybody's enlisted lately into the armed forces, do they take your a buccal swab or a buccal swab of your cheek when you go in the DNA? When you go in the Army? I don't know. That's a great question, Neil. Thanks for tuning in from South Africa. And Charlie says it won't happen under this administration. It's bipartisan right now, so I don't know about that. Thank you for tuning in from Down Under. Let's take a look. Come with me, if you will. This is from 5 days ago. This is an interview that was done by the Arkansas Democrat Gazette channel. And I'm going to beg for forgiveness later if they get mad at me for playing this, because I think everyone should see this, okay? This is an interview. Here's their channel. It's called Arkansas Online, ADG. It only has 1,000 views, and this was 5 days ago they did this interview, or they put this interview out there on the Tubes of You. And thank you to the viewer who sent this to me, because I probably wouldn't have seen it and it wouldn't have came up in my algorithm. And I know you will all go over there and give them a like and a sub. Send them your comments. I will link the stream below and their channel below, because I know you guys do the Lord's work. Let me see. They have, how many subs do they have? 18,000 subscribers. They have 18,600 subscribers, and it's at Arkansas Online. Get on over there, because they did the Lord's work, and nobody is going to watch it, and you're going to give them a like and a sub, because that's the kind of cupcakes that you are. Today's all about freedom. It is Juneteenth. It is 1 year to the day +1 of Karen Read's acquittal. Aaron Spencer's case has been dismissed by the new judge on his case, who saw right through the BS of hiding evidence and destruction of evidence and tampering with evidence that was done by the Lonoke County Sheriff's Department. And Aaron Spencer gave them an interview reported by Grant Lancaster at the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. I'll turn on the captions for those of you who need them. And this is incredible.
About Judge Wilson's dismissal. Tell me about when you learned about Judge Wilson's dismissal order and how that affected you.
It's Judge Wilson's dismissal. I don't want to confuse everyone. The captions say Watson, but we know it's Judge Wilson. Judge Wilson in Arkansas. We need more judges like Wilson.
Your family.
About the dismissal order? Oh, man. To be honest,
He's sitting with his attorney, Erin Casanelli. I love her so much. And if he doesn't win Lonoke County Sheriff's race, I don't know. Look at how much has changed in the past year since Karen Read's acquittal, okay? We saw the charges dropped against Aaron Spencer. We saw Aaron Spencer start a bid to be the sheriff of Lonoke County. We're being loud, and we're watching things in real time happening. Brian Camp was acquitted. Penny McGee was acquitted. We're going to still work on Edrick Faust, don't worry. But all of the things that we have seen happen in just the last year alone, and we have learned that by speaking about things and talking about them and bringing light to certain things, maybe some things can change. And if anybody can do it, you guys can.
with you, I got a message from Aaron that we all needed to jump on a Zoom immediately. And the first thing that went through my mind was that something happened to somebody. I wasn't even thinking about the dismissal order. And we all got logged on, and she was very emotional. And so I was even more worried that something happened to someone. And
I had a little trouble getting words out.
she did. And you know, she stated that the judge had dismissed the case, and it didn't even register for a minute. I think we were all expecting to hear something back from the judge, maybe set up a court date, maybe appear before the judge to hear his ruling or possibly clarify any questions that he had. So I wasn't fully expecting him to put in an order.
Before I forget, Kelsey Fitzsimmons was acquitted by a judge. Lucy Medina was acquitted. Ebony Parker acquitted. We've seen a lot of change happening since just 1 year ago. And a lot of these trials that I covered don't get a lot of views at all. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to shout from the rooftops about the people who need justice and try and get people interested in it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We've seen mistrials declared too. We've seen new trials granted to Adam Montgomery, Alec Murdoch, and Letitia Stout. Many people think that they are three of the most horrible human beings on the planet. But you know what? If the system is going to work for one, it has to work for everyone. Right? Thank you. How could I forget? I'm sorry, I'm going to let Aaron Spencer speak in a minute. But how could I forget one of my most favorite trials of all time?
You're welcome.
Afro Man found not liable in the civil cases that he was facing. And also this girl.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, I'm here.
The jury throwing out the case against Cardi B. The jury acquitting Stephon Diggs. We've seen a lot together. A lot.
It definitely caught us off guard. I immediately went to tell my wife and realized that she had already gone to town, and I was home alone at the time. And so, I was like, hey.
He was kind of looking around. Like,
yeah. I was like,
no one here to tell.
Yeah. And so, I called her immediately before she heard it from someone else, or off of Facebook or the media, and wanted her to hear it. And when I did, we both, honestly, we both just fell apart. It was extremely emotional. It hit me in such a way that I could hear the relief in her voice. It's been a long 2 years fighting this. It's been very taxing on our entire family. So to see that, justice was being served, that we had a good judge using his discretion appropriately, really, it was just a huge relief for the entire family. There was a good portion of this that really made me start to lose faith in the justice system.
Oh, Mrs. Spencer, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. Our faith is coming back, though, right? Remember George Michael? One of my favorite songs. Back when I was in college, I can still remember my college roommate, God rest her soul, and I dancing around to George Michael's Faith, because you got to have faith, the faith, baby. If it's not on the Spotify playlist, I got to put it on there. Wow.
Thank a lot of people in our county and everybody who tuned in from around the nation started to lose a lot of faith in how our justice system works. But, we've had some amazing triumphs through the Supreme Court, whether it's the gag order, the removal of Judge Barbara Elmore from the bench, the appointment of Judge Wilson to the case.
Yeah, praise be. And shout out to the Arkansas Supreme Court for doing the right thing. Shout out to the Arkansas Supreme Court. They get it. So Arkansas family, Arkansas residents, there's hope. And if Aaron Spencer is elected sheriff of Lonoke County, there's going to be more hope.
All those things started to remind me that we do have a justice system that can be just. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this because I've seen systematic failures in our local judicial system that I refuse to just sit idly by and let them happen to others. What if this was another father or another mother, you know, or an older sibling trying to protect their family, you know, they're going to get run through the same ringer, and that's not justice, you know? And so, you know, my motivation for running was, it was actually the majority of people that asked me to run. Nobody thought that anybody could ever come in and beat the incumbent sheriff. They, you know, have this idea of that the system's rigged, or it's about who you know, the good old boy system, this and that. And, you know, we even searched for other candidates to run for sheriff before I made my announcement. Nobody wanted to run. Nobody wanted to do it. And so I kind of had that realization of all these people asking, well, why don't you run? I'm like, you know, that's kind of crazy, right? I'm in the middle of a murder trial. You know, when nobody else wanted to step up to the plate, I was like, you can't just sit here and whine about the issues you have in your community on Facebook, but not.
No whining. No whining. That should be his campaign slogan. No whining. Kyle's here to tell us. Kyle Cowden, thanks to Revive. There was a no more unknowns law passed post 9/11 for DNA sampling of all enlistees. I guess that answers our question, Kyle. Ostensibly to prevent unidentified remains ever again. Oh my God. Thank you. And I think that's a great reason to enact that. Regulation, law, requirement, whatever it is. I love everything about this interview. I love the set. I love the camera work. I love the questions. I love the fact that it looks like it's very homey. I love this. I want everyone to go leave comments on this video after we're done here. Because this reporter in Arkansas is doing the Lord's work, and only 1,000 people have seen this. It's already been up for 5 days. What?
And whine about when nobody else wanted to step up to the plate. I was like, you can't just sit here and whine about the issues you have in your community on Facebook, but not be willing to stand up and do something about it. And it's time for the common man and woman in our communities to stand up and start making a difference.
That's right.
Right? So I think that was the biggest thing behind it, was my community deserves better. My neighbors deserve better. My own family, your family, everybody's family deserves better. But most of all, our children deserve better. They are our future. And if we are not willing to be the ones to stand watch for them, then, you know, who are we? Where do our morals stand, right? So I think that was primarily my motivation, was not wanting to see another member of my community go through this same process. God has been so good to our family through this whole process. There's been so many times where it's like, you know, what is happening? Why are we doing this? And just being able to submit to the suffering that he has you in at that time, you know, letting him lead your life, letting him lead the process through this. That's truly what has gotten us through this. The prayers from our community, the prayers from around the nation. I'm thankful that in the strides that we've made as a family.
Use guys. He's talking to use guys. People around the nation. Prayers. Power of prayer. Use guys. Wow. No whining on the yacht. No crying on the yacht. Thanks, Mitchell. He's talking about his daughter now and her recovery and all of this. Imagine what she's going through.
Letting him lead your life, letting him lead the process for what is happening. Why are we doing this? And just being able to submit to the suffering that he has you in at that time, you know, letting him lead your life, letting him lead the process through this. That's truly what has gotten us through this. The prayers from our community, the prayers from around the nation. I'm thankful that in the strides that we've made as a family, that my daughter's made through this process, but it's going to be an ongoing thing, you know, and truly during the last 2 years, it's been very difficult to accomplish a lot of milestones in that healing and recovery. Now that the case is dismissed and she doesn't have that looming over her, I think the real recovery, you know, and healing can start.
Of course, we believed in Aaron's innocence. We thought he never should have been charged. You know, all the things. We, of course, didn't want to put him at risk at trial and just going through that. But the number one most important thing above all else was that that child did not have to go through that.
Yep.
Like the two most horrific experiences, and then you get to go relive every horrible detail in a public courtroom. Like, how cruel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the prosecutors wanted to go with the theory that it was a consensual relationship. I just dropped the link in the chat again for 30% off all merch in my merch shop today only. Consensual relationship between a 14-year-old girl and a 67-year-old predator.
It was cruel from day one. I mean, I preached that to the prosecutors from day one. How could you do this?
One of the first things she said too when I called Heather after the dismissal, you know,
It is. I remember.
and she's like, "What's you know?" Because Heather started crying when I told her over the phone, and our daughter was like, "Oh my God, what happened? What's wrong?" And she's like, "The judge dismissed the case," and I could hear my daughter crying, and she's like, "You mean I won't have to take the stand?" Like,
remember Heather came on the fundraiser that I went on I think Defense Diaries did the fundraiser for Aaron Spencer, right? Yes, it was Defense Diaries, and I went on and Heather Spencer was on, his wife. And his daughter was so nervous about going on the stand. Remember, it was my opinion, first of all, that when Michael Fossler took his daughter in the middle of the night and raped her again that evening, it was my opinion that he was not going to return her to the safety of her bed, that he was going to kill her because she was the only witness that was going to testify against him in his upcoming trial. The kidnapping was in October, and the trial was set to start beginning of December. She was a witness. She was the only witness to testify against Michael Fossler. She was, I mean, imagine how afraid she was to testify in that trial. And then again, in this trial, I can't even, like, my heart goes out to this family.
the only thing on her brain. You mean I won't have to take the stand? Like, that's the only thing on her brain. It was definitely difficult as her parent to deal with that. But what was more difficult was watching my daughter have to go through that every single day. The questions that she had of, you know, what are they, you know, am I going to be, do I have to do this in front of everybody's going to know what he did to me?
The trauma.
Like, I don't want to tell everybody what he did to me. You know what I mean? So it's like no protections for the true victims of these crimes. I think that was the most frustrating part of it. And that's why we're so relieved that the case got dismissed, because she doesn't have to take the stand and relive that.
Mm-hmm.
What has been happening in our county here in Lonoke County, and I'm sure it's other counties, but I'm focused on mine right now, is that through our judicial system, we have created this safe haven for pedophiles to reside and operate within our county. And that's for the lack of accountability for the crimes that they are committing. It's also sealing the files when they are arrested or have a court case brought against them. And nobody has really known that this has been happening. You hear whispers that, yeah, there's this or that happening, right? But through this last couple of years, we've been able to bring to light how prevalent of a problem it is. And so that was my initiative behind creating the SAFE unit, was because we need a unit outside of CID. CID needs to focus on their criminal investigations, but we need a specific unit to focus on these crimes, right? Sexual assaults, crimes against children. We need to have a much better process for dealing and handling with the sex offender registry and compliance within our county.
Preach.
Having a team that can be proactive in making sure that our registry is up to date. We have compliance where all these individuals reside or work, those types of things, and then be able to hold them accountable when they're outside of compliance. This is a tragic event. What happened to our family.
Mean, people say that, yes, what he said is true for everywhere around the world. It's the entire world. Pedos are protected 100%. I found that out at the highest levels when I handled the cases against the Catholic Church. That scandal, that cover up, that fraud was going on for decades right here in my backyard on Long Island. And for centuries, hundreds of years, all the way back in Ireland. Go back. It's real. It happens. It's possible. And they need to stop protecting the monsters. Thank you, Flower Child. And he's going to fight for it. And very sadly, it had to happen to him and his family for him to even be aware of this. And I can't wait until he's sheriff of Lonoke County, Arkansas. I can't wait.
And what has happened in our community, but God really has used it for good. Like, it has really opened the eyes of people to realize that there are flaws in our system, not just the people in these positions, but there are flaws in our system. And I think that this is going to help. I at least hope that this is going to help fix some of those things, right? It finally brings that discussion to the table, and there's enough people there at the table having that discussion now. I did what any good father would do to protect my family, to protect my daughter, to protect myself, and overall protect my community.
I mean, was that amazing? Here's where you can go find this interview so that you can give them a like, a sub, a comment. I can't believe, look, their video actually recommended this video that we are in the middle of live streaming. Here it is. This is the Arkansas. I've linked it below, so you may need to refresh your browser to see it. Arkansas Online is the name of the channel. This was 5 days ago. This was posted, the interview with Aaron Spencer and attorney Aaron Casanelli. I would love to hear from Aaron more. I would like to, maybe I'll call her to see if she wants to come on the channel. What do you think? And so there it is. Go do the things. Go do the things that you know that YouTube likes. And thank them for doing this interview. And everyone should see it. 1,000 views is criminal. It's criminal. The older the area, the deeper the corruption. B Crumbs says, thank you, B Crumbs. Nicole, thank you so much for your Venmo. Says Charlie, for a Charlie emoji, make a notebook and a circle with a line through it. XOXO. Love you, Mel. Oh, I love you more. I love you more, Nicole. I love you so much. And Betsy, XOXO. She says, God love you for all you do through the Venmo. I appreciate you, Betsy, more than you know, each and every one of you. All right, let's see. We've been at it for 3.5 hours today. It is Friday. I'd like to get outside before the sun goes away. I do not know anything about Aiden's motion papers because they're not in my inbox, and I don't have them yet. So if I do get them, I obviously will be able to share them with you at some point. Don't forget to go watch Emily C. over on her channel at 7 p.m. And if you're interested in Faust, I would love it if you'd watch Peter Tragos's entire series of Faust Fridays. He will be dropping an episode tonight at 8. It won't be live, so watch the fundraiser. You can always watch Peter Tragos, Lawyer You Know, on replay. They gave us an all-in early Christmas. So much has changed since the Karen Read acquittal, and so much has yet to change, and so much more is needed. And I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're interested. And there ain't no place I'd rather be than spending my days with all of you. So if you wouldn't mind, please like the stream. Please share the stream. George Michael's Freedom. That's perfect, Venus Blue. Thank you. Do all of the things that YouTube likes. You know what they are. I'm going to see you soon. Because if I don't see you soon, I'm going to die. When do we want to play us out? You know what? I got a great idea. Hold on a second. Because one of my kids is in this band. I'm allowed to share their music. Many of you know them. Many of you love them. They are Paris Ray and the Crush. And let's see which one we should pick. Which one should we do the Tiny Desk concert? I think we should do the Tiny Desk concert one that they did for NPR to be on the Tiny Desk concert. This is, I forgot what song this is even that they do. Oh, it's called Big Bang. It's called Big Bang by Paris Ray and the Crush. Do not dox my child. Thank you so very much. But if you haven't heard about Paris Ray and the Crush, where have you been? Their summer schedule here on Long Island is filling up, so you can go see them if you want to. Here's Paris Ray and the Crush's Tiny Desk concert. The song is Big Bang, and that really does, in all ways, always take us back to the Karen Read case. So let's let Paris and the boys play us out. There are some new boys in the band now. Not all of them. A couple new ones, and they're really amazing. They played at Montauk Music Festival, and Boy, did we have such a great time. Enjoy it and go follow them on all the socials.
New York had an earthquake, a whopping 4.8 on magnitude. Just 4 lines in fiction, but it got me thinking how I didn't know what to do. This lack of preparedness is making me anxious, so what else is new? A solar eclipse or the apocalypse, and I still wouldn't turn on the news, 'cause que sera, sera. Just do whatever you want. If today is our last day, I hope we go out with love. There's wildfires in the north and they turn the sky orange. The whole thing looks like something from a movie. Felt like we were doomed. We just all carried on with our lives. Not sure what to do when you're feeling like Truman and nothing feels real. Don't know what it says, that bracing for the end is the most human I ever feel. 'Cause que sera, sera. Oh, just do whatever you want. If today is our last day, I hope we go out with
The entire album is a banger. Go get it wherever you get your music. Paris Ray and the Crush. Amazing album. Love you guys. I'm going to see you real soon. Make sure your notifications are set. Thanks, mods, for everything. You're the greatest. I love you. Peace.